You know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. As a native Black American and a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. If you want to learn how to trace your genealogy and apply for tribal citizenship, go to nativeblackancestry.com to schedule a consultation.
They don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British, man. Quite frankly, you was kings, Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners. Raised up the children to worship their images. Set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them. And this shit get way deeper than your pigment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. Shout out to the folks watching on TikTok. Shout out to the folks watching on YouTube. No matter what platform you're viewing on, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. We just had a great live stream with a couple of honored guests, Empress and Joshina. We're actually establishing a new channel on YouTube called Native Black American Network, so definitely make sure to tune into that. But we'll see if some folks over on YouTube or TikTok want to call in, and we're going to keep the conversation going. And let me see. G says you on mute. No, I'm definitely not on mute. So maybe you just got to turn up the audio on your end. Either way, guys, for the folks watching on YouTube, I just dropped a StreamYard link. If anybody wants to call in on YouTube, you know what to do. Just go ahead and click that StreamYard link. I'll bring you right up. If anybody on TikTok wants to call in, we've got a lot of contrarian people, a lot of folks that try to discount the clear evidence of Aboriginal American Indians that are melanated, not looking like no Mongoloid, Siberian, Husky Eurasians, okay? If anybody wants to have a good-natured debate or just, tell us why they think we come from Africa and, all that jazz, I mean, I'll provide the platform. I'll provide the space. I'll provide the opportunity. But unfortunately, it seems that a lot of you guys just like to troll from the comment section. You guys don't really like to call in and let us know what you think and why you think it. Hey, I can easily give evidence that Black indigenous people were all across the Americas. I mean, again, you're talking to someone who's literally a member of a federally recognized tribe. So if you want to have a debate about Black folks not being Indian, I mean, I hope you're going to come with some receipts. Above all, you got to come with some receipts. It looks like we do have somebody calling in from TikTok, Patrox. Let me bring you up in just a second. Before I bring you up, I got to make sure that the folks on YouTube are going to be able to hear you. Let me see what we'll do. We'll do a screen share. We'll bring the audio over. We'll just do a screen share on this one. Here we go. Let's do a quick sound check and see if the folks on YouTube were able to hear you. Patrix, let the people know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
I'm calling in from California.
And hold on real quick, Patrix. Hold on.
Yeah.
Before you continue, give me some feedback, live audience on YouTube. Were you guys able to hear him? He said he's calling in from California. I want to make sure before we get too deep in the conversation, everybody can hear you. Gotta make sure everybody can hear. Balance is giving me some feathers. Is that an indication that you were able to hear my TikTok guest? Let me know. Gigi says we good. Okay, perfect. We are good. Patrix, go ahead. You can pick up where you left off.
All right. So I'm just starting to look into this. What caught my attention is, I don't know if you're familiar with the Olmec statues that are found like in the Americas, like especially South America. But there's these ancient statues, and the people do not look like Native Americans. And I didn't even know that there were people before the Mayans. So I'm just starting to learn. So were the Olmecs, were they of African descent?
You're asking me if the Olmecs were of African descent?
Yes.
In my research, I've seen no indication to suggest that they are of African descent.
Okay, so how do then I'm confused. How do Africans get here?
So you're leading with the presumption that if there are black indigenous people here, that at some point in time they migrated from Africa? Is that the assumption you're making?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always heard that people crossed over a land bridge from Asia.
Yeah, that's called the Bering Strait land bridge, Bering Strait migration pattern. Yeah, exactly. And take it a bit further for us. What exactly did you hear, or what exactly were you taught? They came across the Bering Land Strait, and then they went where?
Well, I believe that the North Asians ended up being the Mayans. Um, and were they originally more in the island areas surrounding South America? I'm not really sure.
No, no, I'm not. I'm just asking you to educate us on what you were taught. You said that you're confused because, I'm saying that I found no evidence to suggest that the Olmecs are African. So you're like, well, if they're not African, where did they come from? Because I was taught about the Bering Strait migration pattern, and I'm just asking you, do you remember? And it's probably years ago that were taught this, but do you remember like where your teacher or where your professor said that these Bering Strait Asiatic migrants went in the Americas?
I can't my brain wants to tell me it was South America.
Okay. So your brain wants to tell you that it was South America. So they came from Asia across the Bering Strait and they go to South America and that's it?
And eventually migrate north, I guess.
Well, I don't know how they would eventually migrate north if they came from the north. The Bering Strait is north. That's like Alaska, northern Canada. So they're already in the north, and you're claiming they went from North America down to South America, and then you said like they became the Maya or something?
Yeah, that's what I was taught. I was taught that there were Asian people that came from northern Asia that ended up being the Mayans, and that later Eastern Asians migrated in a second migration.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure who taught you that, but that is so twisted and backwards. The Bering Strait migrants came down and they went to the southwestern plains, the desert of Arizona, Utah, Nevada, etc. Some of them went further down into like northern Mexico, but the Bering Strait immigrants have nothing to do with the Maya. The Maya descend from the Olmec. The Olmec are the grandfather of the Maya. When you talk about really old indigenous communities that descend from the Bering Strait migrants, that's where we talk about the Aztecs, but not the Maya, not the Olmec. The Aztec, in their own oral tradition, have a story of migrating from somewhere else, which means they weren't really indigenous to that area, right? So you're really conflating multiple histories and conflating different theories, and it's not even you that's conflating it. It's just whoever educated you on the subject just clearly didn't know what they were talking about.
So is that why the Aztecs did not build the same kind of buildings that the Mayans were capable of?
That's part of it. When you look at the pyramid culture, the mound building civilization, you find the same pyramids, the same structures in the southeast, in Louisiana, in Alabama, in Georgia, in Florida, the same ones that the Maya and the Olmec built in Central America, South America, the Amazon rainforest. Matter of fact, they found a Mayan step pyramid in Florida, but they're never going to teach you that in school, right?
That's extremely interesting, man. I'm really enjoying your show. I'm going to keep listening, man, so that I get more educated on the subject because I feel like everything I learned in school is maybe bullcrap. Sorry for the language, but
Well. Not only is it bullcrap, but it was given to you for a purpose. I'm assuming that you have European ancestry, right?
yes, yes, mostly Irish as far as I know.
Okay, Irish. So we can be even more specific with the example. When the Irish came over, they were regarded as dogs. They were regarded as less than. They were the deplorable caste of Europeans. The Irish did not get adopt it into the white American culture until they took on a spirit of white supremacy, until they began to oppress the indigenous black population, until they joined the police force and showed that they were good old boys who could go along and get along. So I'm saying all that to say you're taught that version of history because that is what serves you, your ancestors, and your future generations. If you descend from imperialistic individuals that came here, conquered, colonized, subverted, massacred the indigenous population, then guess what? You need to be taught that your forefathers were heroes. They were founding fathers. They came here as meek pilgrims. They were good to the Indians. The Indians signed away some land, and now we got the US, and those black folks come from Africa. You're not supposed to know the truth about the indigenous black people of the Americas. You're not supposed to know about the vast culture and civilization and the seafaring and the pyramid culture. You're not supposed to know that because if you knew that, then maybe you wouldn't go along with the programming. And I'm not saying that you're like some neo-Nazi, white supremacist, alt-right individual. I'm just saying by and large, European society teaches a version of history because it is beneficial for the survival of your race, more or less.
It's interesting what you're saying because I was taught that basically black people got to this continent from the transatlantic slave trade.
Yep.
And basically that you weren't here until the
Yep.
so you're saying that actually you were here so you were here before white people.
Absolutely. Long before Columbus, long before Bering Strait migrants came from Asia. Yes. And guess what? They'll never teach you this, but your own European explorers and conquistadors, they write in their journals of the black indigenous people they found. Columbus writes in his journals of the black indigenous people they found. The Spanish, who were the first Europeans over here, right? They called us negros de terra. That translates to blacks of this land. They called the African slaves that they would later import, they called them negros de Guinea, blacks of Africa. They knew that we were of different people. Matter of fact, I'm really going to blow your mind. I'm not sure if you're ready for this, but I'm going to give you it either way, okay? I'm going to give it to you either way. Which screen am I sharing? Here we go. Check this out. This is how heavy-handed I can get with the receipts. This is how, commonplace the information is, more or less. And hold on, allow me just a moment to filibuster. I gotta change my screen share for my YouTube audience. Here we go. Perfect. Check this out. Did you know that German churches, like churches in Germany, all across Germany, dozens, I can literally pull up dozens and dozens of them right now. Did you know that German churches on the roof of their churches, they paint depictions of the continents. They paint depictions of American Indians. On the walls of their churches, they have statues of American Indians. Oh, and guess which one of these figures is the American Indian? Oh, it's the black one. Matter of fact, they got this labeled for us right here. This is a representation of America. This is literally a German church called Galdenbach, Saint Martin, right?
I've never seen anything like that in my entire life.
And I can keep going. Here's another one. This is the roof of a German church. Hold on. I want to make sure I zoom in on this. And here's a map of all these German churches that have black Indians all across it. This is how deep I get with the research, okay? This is another one. This is a representation. They call this an allegory of the continents. This church right here is called St. Anthony Abbot. This is the church. You can go visit it right now. And what do they show as a depiction of the American Indians? Well, look, we got labels again. Who are these folks up top? This person up here is Mary with the child. This person right here is Saint Dominic. This person right here is Saint Catherine. And beneath it, looking up, are the continents or allegories of the continents. This person right here represents Asia. Let me zoom in for you. This right here represents Asia. This person right here represents Europe. This person on the far right represents Africa. And this black individual right here in the center represents America. So if black indigenous people don't exist, why would Germans in the 1700s in their most sacred, the most holy of holy places paint depictions of black indigenous people all across their churches? And wait a minute, let's go even deeper with the receipts. We've even got some excerpts for some of these. Check this out. We've got some excerpts. By Ritchell. We'll start with By Ritchell. Matter of fact, this is the wrong one. We want to go with the first By Ritchell. Look at how deep we can get with the receipts. I got this translated from German to English with Google Translate. It literally gives us a description of what we're about to witness. This is the church in Germany. Right here, right? Go back, and here's a description of what we're going to see. It says, we see Europe dressed in a long gown and a red cloak. She wears a crown. Directly behind her stands the black personification of America, wearing a blue and white feathered skirt and a crown. Well, let's see if we see Europe in a red cloak kneeling. Oh, damn, there's Europe in a red cloak kneeling. And behind her is the black personification of America in a blue and white feathered skirt and a crown. So when you hear folks saying we're wabos and we're pretendians and we're delusional and we're ashamed to be Africans, well, why don't you go have a conversation with the Germans and ask them why they chose to paint this in their churches? And guess what? I can just keep going. We can just sit here for like a good 10, 12 minutes and I can just keep pulling up receipt after receipt after receipt. This one, they tucked this one in the ceiling of the hallway in the church. This one, you got to come to the back hallway. Maybe you leave the main service, you leave the main congregation, and you're trying to find a bathroom or something. You come in the hallway, you go upstairs, and you say, wait a minute, what's that on the ceiling? What is that painting up there on the ceiling? What is that? Well, you know what? They've got a description for us. Check it out. It says right here. Right. I'm speed reading, guys. I'm speed reading. I got to find you the meat and potatoes. Bam. Here we go. In the left arch sits America with dark complexion in a gold green adorned dress over which a red cape falls. On her head, she wears a gold decorated feather headdress. While she has placed her left hand on the crocodile beside her, she seems to be warding something off with her right, almost an alarm. So in a second here, we're going to see America in the left arch of a painting with dark complexion and a green dress with a red cape, with her left hand on a crocodile, with her right hand holding something at bay, almost an alarm, right? Let's see what they're talking about here. Damn, the left arch. Black personification of America. Green dress, red cloak, left hand on a crocodile, right hand up, an alarm. Now you have to ask yourself, why did they not teach you this in school?
I'm actually like overwhelmed because this is shocking. Uh, the fact that when did they rewrite history? Like, this is shocking because this shows a knowledge of something. I'm trying to process it, man. Sorry.
Well,
I'm trying to process it all.
I'm going to help you process it. You said, when did they rewrite history? You have to understand something. Not all European factions were in one accord. Nowadays, you guys all fall under the banner of whiteness, of white Americanness, this myth of being a white American, right? But you guys are different factions. You've German, Irish, Scottish, French, Dutch, British, Spanish, Portuguese. So check this out. The first European colonizers over here, the conquistadores, they were Spanish Europeans. And when the Spanish came over here, not only were they trying to find a new holy land for the Jews, I mean, that's another topic. Hey, if you're having your mind blown right now, we're not ready to tell you about Christopher Columbus being a secret double agent for the Portuguese crown, being a crypto Jew, and all that. I mean, you're not ready for that. Come back next week, and I'll drop that on.
All right, man.
But you have to understand, when the Spanish come over here, they're stealing the gold from the indigenous people. They're taking them as slaves. They're shipping them to Europe, to other colonies. But essentially, they're here to steal the gold and send it back to Spain. They did not see any reason to lie about what the indigenous people they're conquering look like. The Germans, when they come over, they see no reason to lie about what the indigenous people look like. That's why the Germans paint black Indians in their churches. The French, they have no reason to lie about what the indigenous people look like. But the descendants of the British, the descendants of the British who only have this new country, were only able to break away from Mama and Daddy Britain and start this America because of manifest destiny and imperialistic expansion and conquering indigenous tribes and making them walk Trail of Tears. Well, the descendants of the British, the Americans who were in war with these black Indians, look up the Yamasee War of 1715. Look up the Seminole War 1, Seminole War 2, Seminole War 3. They're not going to teach you in school that Andrew Jackson was fighting black indigenous people all throughout the 1800s, right? So you have to understand that the descendants of the British who are reclassifying the indigenous people, who are taking them as slaves, it's in their vested interest to lie to them and make them think they come from somewhere else. How do they ever fight for this land? How do they ever fight for their ancestral homeland if they think they come from Africa? Matter of fact, if we can convince them that they come from Africa, maybe we can send them back to Africa. So I say all that to say the only class of European that does this reclassification, the whitewashing of history, is the descendants of the British. The Germans clearly have no issue saying black Indians exist. I can pull up Spanish conquistador journals right now saying black Indians exist. The Portuguese have no issue saying black Indians exist, but the descendants of the British, they are the ones that reclassify us through a process known as paper genocide.
You know what? Something interesting that you said, we can just send them back. We can send these people off to Africa. After the Civil War, I seem to remember that they tried to send some people back to Africa, right? And they weren't accepted. Is that true? Like they tried shipping some people, black people, back to Africa.
They were trying that since before the end of the Civil War. They started something called the Colonization Society. The Colonization Society was created in 1816 with an effort to establish an African colony for free black people in the United States. Well, this is where it gets crazy. If black people only got free in 1865, then who were all these free black people in the United States in 1816 they're trying to convince to go to Africa?
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn. It gets deep. And actually, it's not just that they were trying to convince us to go to Africa. Now I'm really going to blow your mind. You know, Abraham Lincoln never believed in equality amongst the races. He's on record saying that if he can end the Civil War and not free a single slave, he would do so. But guess what? This is where we're really going to fuck you up. His original plan was never called the Emancipation Proclamation. It was called the Emancipation Deportation. His original plan was to free the blacks and have them voluntarily deport themselves, not even to Africa, just anywhere else but America, to Panama, the Caribbean, maybe Africa, just go anywhere else. And this wasn't just a theory, this was something he put into practice. Look up Isle Avache, also known as Cow Island. It's an island off the coast of Haiti. Abraham Lincoln sent hundreds of recently freed black people over to an island off the coast of Haiti under the guise that if they work on this plantation over there in the Caribbean, after a few years, they'll get their back pay and they can start their own country or something. It ended in disaster. It was basically slavery with extra steps. But they're not going to teach you about Ayalavache. They're not going to teach you about Lincolnia. But these are all things that we can fact check right now. Lincolnia was the name of a proposed Central American colony suggested by, hold on. This is a different one. This is a different Lincolnia. We're going to stick with the history of Ayalavache because Wikipedia is trying to throw us astray. And we can't just put Ayalavache. We have to put Ayalavache and Abraham Lincoln. And look what comes up. Why Abraham Lincoln shipped freed black Americans to a Haiti island as part of an experiment. The plan failed catastrophically. Damn, I bet some of you guys watching were like, this guy, Mike, I've never seen him before, but he's talking about some weird conspiracy stuff. No, this is factual. When Abraham Lincoln tried to resettle free black Americans in the Caribbean, Lincoln wanted to end slavery, but he wasn't keen on integrating African Americans into U.S. society. His first attempt to send them offshore proved disastrous. So again, if you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes,
And
we
he's
can go there.
considered the biggest hero. Like most people are
The
like,
hero of the blacks. Yes.
yes, like probably number one. Like who's the number one hero who did the most for blacks? People will say Abraham Lincoln. That's interesting. So
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa, hold
have
on,
to
hold on,
ask
hold on, hold
you,
on. Wait, before you
yeah,
ask your next question, it gets more nefarious than just painting Abraham Lincoln as a hero. They paint the Union as great emancipators, right?
yes,
The Union were wrong. The Confederates were right. I said it. I'm not going to look at this from a black indigenous perspective. I'm going to look at this from a European perspective.
okay.
If we are European Confederates and you are Europeans in the Union up north, and we've agreed on some agreement here where we're all in allegiance with one another, even though we're running our own independent little nation states, and all of a sudden you get jealous because I have a system that is profiting me and my people greatly. And our system is so profitable that we're looking to expand into new territories. And these new states are going to be slaveholding states. And then wait, there's more. Most people don't know that the real cause of the Civil War wasn't to end slavery. It's because the Confederates were about to expand into the Caribbean. They were going to start taking islands in Haiti and Jamaica and Puerto Rico and expanding their slave empire. And the Union said, whoa, they're getting too powerful. We're not getting no money off this like that. How do we fuck it up? How do we destabilize it? So you know what they did? When the Confederates succeeded, they invaded the South. The Confederates didn't go to war with the Union. And again, guys, some of you guys are a little triggered right now. I'm speaking from the European lens. We know the Confederates were fucked up. They reclassified indigenous people, enslaved people. We know that, right? But from a European's perspective, the Confederates just said, yo, we don't want to be a part of this shit no more. It's kind of like if a country says we don't want to be a part of the United Nations. Hey, we're good. We're not a member no more. We're not going to renew our membership. And what did the Union do? They invaded the South. They didn't even want to free the slaves. They only freed them as a last-ditch effort to win the war because they needed those black folks to join the Union side and kick the Confederates' ass for them because they were losing at first, right? And these great emancipators create the Ku Klux Klan. The KKK did not exist until 1865 after emancipation. When you hear about the KKK and these lynchings and chopping up black people and stuff, that wasn't going on during the time of antebellum slavery in the South. That was going on after emancipation, after the Union got control, during the Reconstruction era. I'm going to really blow your mind here, and then we're going to get to your next question. But watch me really blow your mind. Look at this map real quick. Look at this map of black massacres and tell me if there's anything that stands out to you. Is there anything about this map of black massacres that stands out to you?
It's kind of hard for me to see. I'm on my phone.
You know what? If it's hard
So,
for you to see, what I'll do to make it easy for you is I'm just going to read the dates of these black massacres, okay?
okay.
And I'm going to read some of the names. Some of the names I'm going to butcher, right? But here's some of these black massacres. 1865, Opelousas. 1887, Thibodaux. 1866, New Orleans. 1868, St. Bernard Parish.
This is all post Civil
1875.
War.
Well, 1875, Clinton. 1863, New York. 1874, Eufaula. 1865, Camilla. 1921, Tulsa. 1910, Seocum. 1923, Rosewood. 1919, Elaine. You already said it. This is all after emancipation, right? Oh, and guess what? Not only is this right after emancipation, but this area of all these black massacres, coincidentally, is the same area where these black indigenous tribes inhabited. the Choctaw, the Caddo, my tribe, the Creek, the Seminole, the Calusa, the Catawba, the Yuchi. These are all tribes that are historically noted for being of dark, rich, melanated hue. So now we're starting to connect some dots, aren't we?
It's shocking. It's shocking because none of this is. No, I didn't learn any of this in school, man. None.
You're not supposed to. If you know this, then how do you work on behalf of the system? If you know that you live in the evil galactic empire and that Chancellor Palpatine is really a Sith Lord, if you know that, you're going to behave differently. You're not going to sign up to become a stormtrooper. You're not going to go join the military and fight for God and country. I mean, if you knew this, you would probably behave differently.
Can I ask you a question about one American figure?
Of course, you can ask me anything you like.
Okay, I just because
Oh, wait,
the
and hold on real quick.
yeah.
My YouTube audience actually can't hear you anymore. So let me just make sure that I redo my audio real quick, because as soon as I started sharing the map of the Black Massacre, I think I messed up my audio on the YouTube side of things. All right, now the YouTube audience should be able to hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So hopefully I can be heard. So I was pretty disheartened the information you gave me about Abraham Lincoln. Um, was Booker T. Washington at least a good guy?
This is one of those things. We're talking Reconstruction era. This is a situation where, let's say in an alternate universe, you become a college professor and you teach American Indian history. And during your course of teaching American Indian history, you don't mention anything about Black indigenous people. Matter of fact, you promote the myth that all Indians come from Bering Strait Asiatic migrants, right? And when somebody in your class one day says, hey, but my grandma says we're Choctaw, you say to them, nah, Black Americans come from the West African slave trade. Now, some people would look at you as an evil man, as a tool of racial reclassification. But someone like me who understands the nuance knows that you're just someone who fell victim to the programming. So when you ask me if Booker T. Washington was a good guy, Booker T. Washington, we've got to put in the same category as a W.E.B. Du Bois. We've got to put in the same realm as a Frederick Douglass, where these individuals, if we judge them by today's standards, hindsight is always 2020. We could see how they were being used as tools for colonizers in some ways. Frederick Douglass, not so much. Frederick Douglass, was a real writer. But when you look at Booker T and W.E.B. Du Bois and some individuals, I mean, do I believe that they really thought that they were doing what was best for our people at the time to advance our race? Yes. But me being a historian, me looking back at history, I realized that what they were doing was still in line with the imperialistic system. They were just getting us assimilated into this culture, into the society that we never wanted to be a part of, right? Booker T. Washington was a big proponent of, hey, we're going to create these schools and we're going to teach these Black folks how to be good citizens just like white people. They weren't talking about getting our land back, creating our own nation, separating from this imperialistic government, right? So do I hold these kind of individuals in high regard? The Booker T's, the W.E.B. Du Bois, the Frederick Douglasses, yes, absolutely. Do some of them have faults? Yes, absolutely. But you have other bad actors, others who were straight up agent provocateurs, such as Marcus Garvey. And those people, no. Those people are force-fed to the Black American community as heroes, as civil rights heroes. And you
Wait,
probably...
Marcus Garvey's a. Wait, I'm so confused. How's Marcus Garvey a bad guy?
Oh, I guess you didn't know he was buddies with the KKK. I guess you
I've
didn't
never
know
heard
that he
that.
was a convicted felon for scamming Black Americans into buying shares in his Star line or something. Let me tell you this. Now that I've given you some Black indigenous history, right? Let me just tell you the story of Marcus Garvey, and you're going to be like, oh, what the fuck? Marcus Garvey is a Jamaican migrant. He tried to rise to political fame to get social clout in Jamaica. Nobody was fucking with him. So he comes over to North America, the US of A. He sees that there's a Black American civil rights movement and stuff. So he inserts himself into that. He's a proponent of let's send black Americans back to Africa. He's not a black American. This motherfucker's from Jamaica, but he comes to America to try to convince us to go to Africa. And he says he's going to start some ship to start transporting us to Africa. He does secret meetings with the KKK and individuals like Walter Plecker, where he says that they have commonalities. The KKK doesn't want black folks in America, and Marcus Garvey thinks black folks should get out of America, right? He ends up being convicted by our government for scamming, for federal fraud. He's later deported, moves to Europe, and lives the rest of his days in fucking Europe and dies in Europe. But he's coming over here to try to convince us to go to Africa, but he didn't even take his ass to Africa.
I was always taught he was a hero. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
You always thought he's a hero and he championed for black, and they put him in the same breath as Martin and Malcolm and Huey P. Newton. And no, he's a fucking sellout. He's a foreigner. He's a migrant. He's not a native black American. This man was a Jamaican.
Wow, man. Well, my head's gonna explode, man. So I'll let you go, but thank you for the information. I'll follow you for sure.
Yeah.
Great information, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Talk to you later.
All right, have a
Peace.
good one.
All right, and I know that there was several people on TikTok trying to call in while our guest was up. If there's anybody who would like to join, go ahead and request to join. Let's see what you guys have to say. The chat's been real active. I know I'm not caught up with the chat. Hopefully you guys are learning something new tonight. Always trying to make sure that you learn something new. And for anybody that's on their journey of self-discovery, make sure to check out my website, nativeblack.ancestry.com. I'm a genealogist, a digital archivist, a card-carrying member of the Muskogee Creek Nation. I descend from Black Indigenous tribal kings and chief justices of the Creek Nation. And as a genealogist, I help Black Americans discover their Aboriginal roots, apply for tribal citizenship. So if that's anything that you guys are interested in, make sure to check out the website, nativeblack.ancestry.com.
Just finished my consultation with Mike. A lot of information in a short period of time, but it was very valuable information. I'm definitely excited to get started searching up my genealogy. He has been an awesome resource. Gave me a lot of information, a lot of things, a lot of pieces to the puzzle I didn't have. He was able to help me find them, and I 100% recommend Mike and his services to anyone who's looking to crack the code, so to speak, on their genealogy, because there's a lot of how we say fake news going around with this subject, and it's very important that people are able to put the pieces together, because if you don't know your history, you don't know your future. So 100% sign up.
Hi, my name is Vishelle, and I came across Mike on YouTube showing some historical information about how, we're not all from Africa. And of course, it got my attention as I've been doing my genealogy research for a little while, but I hit a brick road and I needed more help. So the consultation that I had with Mike, it was great, very informative, showed me a lot of history that I was unaware of, and it's made me more aware of what I don't know. So with finding him, I'm pretty sure that it's going to open up a new door, information about who I really am, who my lineage is, and I'm excited to get started. I'm so happy to have found him, and I recommend him to anyone who may have hit a brick road, who is interested in, going a little bit further than they may have been able to get, or just to find out the truth about your ancestry. Contact him.
Come on, guys, let's talk about it. Real people, real results. What are you waiting for? If you've realized I've already dropped some gems on you, if you've realized I've already educated you on so many different things you had no idea about, then imagine what kind of assistance you can get on a one-on-one genealogy consultation with me. Come on. I got several people I'm guiding through tribal citizenship right now. I got a table behind me with over 600 documents. This is real, folks. This is real. But I got several people trying to call in on TikTok. Let me see who we're going to bring up. Let's see. Who's backstage? We've got 400 risks. 400 risk. Let's see if we can bring them up. 400, let the people know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
What's up? I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. And a question that I really got is like, so you saying like the black people we really from America. So the stories that they told us about the ships coming to from Africa to America is a lie.
No, I'm not saying that.
So half of us are African, and then the rest are indigenous black.
That would be too simplistic and not historically accurate. More specifically, the way that it worked is the transatlantic slave trade did happen. Africans sold their fellow African to Europeans for trinkets, gunpowder, muskets, mirrors, beads, cloth, alcohol. But here's the issue. It's kind of like a spectrum. Nowadays, you got people on one far extreme, and they say the transatlantic slave trade never happened. It's all a lie. Then you got people on the opposite end of the spectrum that say every single black American comes from a West African slave. And in actuality, the truth is much more nuanced. Were there Africans transported to the Americas? Absolutely. Back in the 80s and the 90s, they used to teach us that it was 100 million. That 100 million Africans were trafficked to the Americas as slaves. But now in 2025, they've dramatically changed their tune. Now mainstream academics say 12 million were shipped to the Americas. And out of the 12 million that were shipped, only 10 to 11 million actually survived the journey. And out of those 10 to 11 million that survived the journey, the vast majority of them went to Brazil. Over 50% of all Africans trafficked during the transatlantic slave trade went to Brazil, which makes perfect sense. Brazil is right by Africa. These people had no powered vessels. They are sailing by the ocean's gyres, by the natural currents and the sails, and the wind in their sails. So if they're coming from West Africa, what's the first current that they can take? The South Equatorial Current that takes them straight to Brazil. That's why to this day, there's a huge Afro-Brazilian population. They're praying to African orishas. They're eating fufu and jollof rice. I mean, there's a huge African culture in Brazil because that's where most of the African slaves went. And after they sold as many as they could to these plantations, well, they kept taking the current to the Caribbean, which is why the second largest destination for African slaves trafficked during the transatlantic slave trade behind Brazil was the Caribbean. Puerto Rico, Haiti, the DR, Jamaica. When we talk about North America, what would later become the United States of America, less than 4%. And this isn't a number I came up with. Look it up. Mainstream academics admit less than 4% of all Africans that were trafficked during the transatlantic slave trade, less than 4% went to North America. And when they say North America, they're counting Canada. Canada and the United States combined, less than 4%. But some of you guys are going to say, well, Mike, what does that mean? Like, can you quantify that? How many thousands of Africans is that? That number's up for debate. The lowest number that I've seen historians cite is 90,000 African slaves being shipped to North America. The highest number that they theorize is about 388,000 Africans being shipped to North America. Well, if we play devil's advocate and we even round up and we say 400,000 Africans were shipped to North America as slaves, the math still ain't mathin'. We've got over 47 million black Americans present day. It is logistically impossible to take a sample population size of 400,000 and have it balloon to over 47 million. I don't care if it's been 300 years, 600 years, 900 years. That's logistically impossible, especially when plantation slaves historically have a high mortality rate and a low birth rate. So the math ain't mathin'. So when you say to me, well, Mike, did the transatlantic slave trade never happen? No, it happened. It's documented. But the issue is they're trying to convince us that we exclusively come from Africa when barely any of us have African heritage. Most of those African slaves went to South America or the Caribbean. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. I appreciate it. That was the only question I had.
And a way that I can drive the point for you even further is by showing you a map of the ocean's gyres. Matter of fact, I like to share this map. This right here is a map. Hold on. We having some issues establishing connection. What y'all talking about? We can use this map. Mm, shoot, somebody's messing with that website. They said Mike been using that as a receipt too often. We got to switch up the receipts, okay? I want one that shows the currents with. Let me see. Let me see. I want to see the currents in detail. Oh, this one will be good enough. This one will be good enough. So check it out. Oh damn, they trying to make me subscribe to continue reading. They tripping now. Now they tripping. Check it out. I actually downloaded the image. Just give me a second. I'll bring it up from my hard drive. This is why when y'all find receipts, you gotta save them. This is why I built out a digital archive on my website, nativeblackancestry.com, of over 600 documents, Black Indian obituaries, ex-slave interviews, Indian fugitive slave ads. The list goes on and on and on. Matter of fact,
And
last week,
since and like how you explain how they lied to us so much, like how can you just go on the internet and tell if it's like real or not? Like, you know, I'm just
like anything, by looking at the source, by looking at the material, by cross-examining. Wait, hold on. I found what I'm looking for. So this is the Ocean's Gyres map. Check this out. So as you can see, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but you've got Africa right here. You got South America right here. If they traveled from West Africa to the Americas, the first current that you can take over from West Africa is called the South Equatorial Current. And you can see that it takes you straight to Brazil, straight to South America. Then after that, they would take the North Equatorial Current, which takes them straight to the Caribbean. And the last destination would be the 13 colonies, the British colonies, Canada, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're a European slave trader and I'm a European slave trader, and our goal is to get these Africans from the west coast of Africa and sell them for a profit, well, we know that every day that we're out at sea, we risk our cargo passing away. Even us Europeans are passing away from different ailments and diseases. So what are we going to do logistically? We're going to sell those slaves at the first chance we get, which is why most of those African slaves went to the Portuguese colony of Brazil. That's the closest colony in the Americas. Then when they sell all the ones that the Portuguese are willing to buy, then you go to the next colonies and plantations in the Caribbean. But why would it ever make sense for them to take Africans from the west coast of Africa and pass up all these destinations that they can sell slaves to and hold out and let their slaves perish and drop like flies to sell the remaining ones at the last stop, North America? It doesn't make sense, does it?
no.
Yeah, hopefully that demystified the transatlantic slave trade for you. And you know what? Hold on, I gotta redo my audio once again. If you have any other questions, go for it while I switch my audio.
Oh no, that was it. I appreciate your time.
For sure. Well, thanks for calling in. Talk to you later. And we did have somebody else backstage. Let me see if they're still waiting backstage or not. I forget. Oh yeah, User Ben's still back there. Or User Ben. User, go ahead and let us know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind. User, where you calling in from? What's on your mind? User going once. User going twice. All right, I guess user has nothing to say. We'll see you later. Hastas luegos. All right, and you know what? Let me drop the StreamYard link for the folks on YouTube. If anybody on YouTube wants to call in, I'll give you guys the opportunity as well. We're not just taking TikTok callers. Balance says travel was what, 3 months? Longer than that. In my research, I learned that some Europeans had to stay on the west coast of Africa for up to 150 days, participating in local African tribal customs before they were allowed to purchase African slaves from the local African warlord. So again, they give us this myth, this mythos of Europeans sneaking into Africa and bear crawling through the bushes and throwing a net and some rope on some Africans and dragging them on some boats. No, impossible. Europeans can't even survive 90-degree weather without sunscreen. You think they was going through the African bushes and capturing a European can't catch an African in a foot race? Guys, Europeans came to the West Coast and they just had to window shop. The Africans already rounded up their fellow Africans they didn't like, and they sold them to the Europeans freely. That's why it's called a slave trade. It's not called a holy war. It's not called a mass invasion. It's called a trade. Africans were freely trading Africans to Europeans in exchange for trinkets. Come on. Let's talk about it. It ain't making no sense. And maybe Haz should call in. Haz is on TikTok talking about Europeans had weapons and Africans did not. What are you talking? Africans didn't have weapons. Okay. All right. Hey, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say you're right. Even if Africans don't have weapons, there's literally billions of them on the supercontinent known as Africa. So how does a boat filled with 10 or 20 or 30 Europeans come over and catch you guys and capture you? And guys, it's called a fucking slave trade. I'm not promoting a conspiracy. Look it up. African warlords sold African slaves. It was an exchange. Guess what? Yo dumbass up here talking about Africans didn't have weapons. They sold slaves for weapons. Europeans gave them guns in exchange for slaves. So what are you talking about? Lord, you guys don't know anything about history. Jesus. Let me see who else we got calling in. Talking about some fucking Africans had weapons. The Europeans had weapons. No, you're about to make me mad with that dumb shit. Just Google Africans carrying European. Oh, wait, not Africans and bush tribes. Oops. Africans carrying Europeans. And what do you see? Do you see Europeans with firearms forcing Africans into submission? No. You see a European chick smiling, sitting on a wagon while she has several Africans push her through Africa. Okay. We see a European in a hammock getting carted around by Africans that are balancing them on their heads. Okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, if anything, we see Africans with firearms. Rounding up other Africans. Damn, that's a slave caravan in the Congo in 1888. We already been through slavery and emancipation by 1865, but they capturing their fellow Africans as slaves in 1888. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. Come on. So, something ain't added up. He giving the white tea man a piggyback ride, y'all. He giving man's a piggyback ride. Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Let's talk about it. But you know what? It looks like we got another live caller. Let me see. Miss I Can't Give Up. Let's see if we got them on the line. It's trying to connect them. It's trying. Miss, let us know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
Oh, I'm actually in the U.S. from the South, and I actually agree with a lot of things that you said. I also wanted to bring up the fact that what sense does it make for you to travel that many miles of sea to come back with a human being when you left the gold, the rubies, the diamonds, and I'm sure cotton didn't cost as much as a bar of gold. So it seems to me that some people allege that cotton costs more than gold. Gold, silver, rubies, diamonds, minerals. You mean to tell me you go that far and come back with a human and leave all of that wealth over there? It truly is not making sense. Even to this day, the amount that is there. You talking about diamonds, you leave. You talking about ivory, you leave. Gold, you leave. Rubies, you leave. That does not make sense at all. Period. You wouldn't even need a weapon. You would not need a human with as much gold it is over there. So it's just not adding up. And no, they would not have the capability, even this day and time, to travel that many people across sea at all. period. With the treacherous waters, you wouldn't even have enough food or water to compensate for that many people, period. So there is an alleged accusation that we all came from there when it's allegedly impossible for that to occur. And the truth needs to be told. Bottom line, the truth needs to be told. And not only that, we were everywhere. We were already everywhere. And TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes alone. It's time that every country and continent speak the truth. It doesn't make sense for you yourself to have to bring this forth, you and several others like you, when there are professors with PhDs from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and many other Ivy League universities. It does not make sense at all.
Well, hold on,
Even
hold
when
on,
they
hold
go
on,
back to
wait.
the.
Time out.
Mhm.
Slight correction though. When you talk about these Ivy League universities,
I understand.
they're never going to teach this history because all of these Ivy League institutions you named were literally created to
I
convert
know.
and reprogram
I
indigenous
know.
local populations. So yeah,
Again,
and
that's
and
why I
and
said,
and and, and again, I know you may know that, but there's
yeah.
probably dozens of people watching
Well,
right
they
now
need.
who did not know that Harvard was literally founded to re-educate American
I know.
Indians.
I know. All I'm saying is, you're not a professor. I'm not a professor. We're not professors. So apparently, they need to rewrite their books. And the books were written by the professors. So all I'm saying is, common sense makes sense. There is no reason for them to perpetuate this false doctrine upon the next generation. They need to come forth and tell the truth. That's all I'm saying.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I feel
whichever
you.
way you want to do it, it's so bleak right now. It doesn't even make sense. With the math and chemistry and calculus and biology that we have today, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes. There's no reason for those doctrines, those books that have been written over the years to program people into not thinking for themselves, is what it is. You take a class that's written, the book is written by the professor and their researchers. Open any book up in a university, and the professor is the one wrote the book, he and his researchers. So definitely he's going to teach that. So I'm saying, if you're the peak of education across the board, across the different countries and continents, every university need to tell the truth. Bottom line, because people like yourself, you're making sense online. You're making sense and sharing their own information and debunking their own doctrine that they put out online. And it's ridiculous. So all I'm saying to you is, keep going, and hopefully someone will have the courage to tell the truth about each country and continent from its inception and its people, because it's not making sense. And to add religion on to it, to keep people blinded or asleep, bottom line being, it's not making sense. Period. And I just thank you for I just stumbled across your page on this social media platform, and it just truly is insane. And TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes. Our youth cannot continuously be brought forth and miseducated, and also uh, pushing racism. It's all it is, pushing racism across the world, and it's time out for it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And
Thank you.
Sierra Humphrey says, "I definitely have African ancestors." Well, Sierra, I gotta ask you, do you want a cookie? I mean, the only reason that I can imagine you giving us that random fact that no one asked for is because you're trying to use your heritage to
Yeah,
discount our heritage.
that's right.
Hey, Sierra, if you're African, Congratulations, be a proud African.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, why don't you go to your motherland? I bet you're not in
Uh-huh.
Africa right now. I bet you
Well,
can't tell
she
me the country your African ancestors came from. I bet you can't name me a single African ancestor of yours. But all right.
and she's got 64 grandparents in just 3 generations. There's 64 grandparents and great great grands and great 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 grands in 3 generations. You've got 64, just the grandparents alone, not to
Hey,
mention
hey,
your cousin,
hey,
niece.
hey, check this out. On my website,
Huh?
nativeblack.ancestry.com, on the bottom of the page, I even share an excerpt on my ancestor,
Huh?
Thomas Jefferson Adams Harjo. He was a
Huh?
Creek Indian, town king, and the chief justice of the Muskogee Creek Nation. Black indigenous
Wow.
man. He's listed on the Dawes Roll as a full-blooded Creek by blood. So Sierra,
What?
I challenge you, Sierra. I just shared with you definitive proof of a black indigenous full-blooded Creek Indian ancestor of mine written on a federal document. Now show me evidence of your African ancestry.
And I say, what's up, cuz?
And shout out to Anthony. He said, damn, you two look alike. Honestly, I never even thought that we looked alike until a lot of people started mentioning it. And then
You
I was like, you
do.
know what? I do see it with the nose. I said, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out
You
to
look
Grandpa.
just like him.
Come
You
on.
look just like him. Yeah. Well, thank you, and I'll keep listening. And don't forget the golds and diamonds. Research that.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for
And
calling in, sister.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Till next time. All right. And we got another live caller. Let's see who we got coming from the back to the front. Mixed Truths. Let's see if we can get Mixed Truths up here. Mixed Truth is trying to connect you. Oh, it's trying. It is trying. I don't know what's up with your Wi-Fi, though. Your Wi-Fi does not want to Wi-Fi, okay? Your Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fiing right now. I'm sorry. Come on. And shout out to all the contrarians. I just wish you guys would actually call in tonight. I mean, call in and tell me how I'm not really an Indian and how I'm really an African that's insecure. I mean, come on, guys, call in. Let's have some fun. Say it with your chest. Come on. What's that smell? Says more pretendian BS. Yeah, you're right. More pretendian BS. Yeah. I wonder, though. I wonder if you're going to go to the European author, Harry O'Byrne, who wrote this book. Harry O'Byrne wrote this book called The Indian Territory. It's tribes, chiefs, leading men. And in this book, written by a European, and this book is highlighting leading men, chiefs, and legislators of Indian Territory. Well, damn, it's crazy how my ancestor, how my grandfather has his own chapter in this book as a chief, as a leading man of the Muskogee Creek Nation. Damn. So I wonder if you're going to go to this author and tell him he got it wrong. Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, I wonder. Somebody says, no offense, what is a Creek Freedman? I can give you a whole breakdown on the Creek Freedman thing. Just go ahead and request to join as a guest. You don't even have to turn on your camera, but come up here. I don't bite. Ask your question, and I'll give you a whole breakdown. I provide paid genealogy consultations. I do dozens of consultations every week, helping Black Americans discover their Aboriginal roots. But I'll give y'all some free game tonight. I'll give you some free game, okay? I'll give you a whole breakdown on the Freedman controversy, how it ties to the recent Creek Freedman court victory, and everything in between. We'll tie it to the Freedmen's Bureau, the Freedmen's Bank, the Dawes Commission. We can break it down. But y'all got to at least join the panel, chop it up with your boy, verbally ask your question. I mean, there's so many people asking questions in the chat. I got to give preference to the folks who actually are calling in, of course. So let's see who we got calling in next. Shout out to HTD Mom. Yeah, Age of Information. That's right. That's right. We going to tell him, Kirk. We going to tell him. Let's see. Who we got calling up next? Looks like we got User Ben back. I think User Ben was up here earlier. User Ben, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just got a couple of questions. Recently, I've been surfing in a
Oh wait, hold on,
They
hold on, hold
still,
on. Time out, time out, time out. User Ben, I just remembered. So you were the person that I tried to bring up earlier, but it like wouldn't connect. So since this is your first time up here and we can actually hear you, I start off by asking everybody, where are you calling in from and what's on your mind? Go ahead, you have the floor. Unmute yourself.
I'm calling in from Canada.
By way
Yeah.
of
No, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a Ghanaian and calling in from Canada. I'm a resident in Canada.
okay, cool. And your question is?
My question is recently I've been surfing and interacting with people on the TikTok and all that kind of stuff. And I'm getting a whole lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little confused as to the blacks, especially in America, right?
Yep.
I've recently learned that there are black indigenous people who didn't come by way of the boats or slavery.
Yep.
And I've also
Hey, you know
listened
what?
to
Hold on,
you.
hold
So,
on. Real quick, real quick, real quick. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to run multiple live streams and stuff. I hate to interrupt you. Human Maximus says, can I please come up? You can request to join like anybody else. There's 5 people backstage. I'm going to bring everybody up one at a time. User Ben, I really want to hear from you. I think we're going to get into a great thought-provoking conversation. But to be honest, I've been live streaming for like 4 hours straight, and I got to take a quick bathroom break, my brother. I'm sorry, my Ghanaian brother. Just sit right there for just a moment. I'm going to be right back. I promise. I'm going to be right back, y'all. I'll be right back.
Big booty bitch, I know who paid for it. Yeah. Big booty bitch, I know who paid for it. You ride the Audemars Brigade, you ain't know no sad shit. If you say your grace, I get your ass fixed. Yeah, dive in and drop out a roll. Stay with you, how I'm supposed. When I'm rocking junk, got it close. Oh, yeah. Peanut butter guts from the inside. We going for a bite up the herb batches. Molly can't bite like a Mentos. I don't do credit. I don't do credit. Shut up and shine my necklace. Playing with the blocks like Tetris. Oh, one fit in my dentures. All you time ties with all your women. Keep your dog strapped down and reckless. All the mob bust down and the speckless. No complaining that they calling me the bestest. Press a cut, bust down, broke necklace. I ain't telling no reason to disguise it. I done seen it, I turn my eyes. Tell your main hoe 1,000 lies. Told my main hoe the truth, that's on slime. I'm a Leo, I got 9 lives. Bounty hunters when we come for your life. If you won't see me succeed, gotta tell me everything that I need. Malcolm X told the guy how to need. Like a dirty, but I'm having cheese. I got a bitch in Belize. Might be pregnant and this ain't a tease. I was telling my slime not to leave. Too much money to be in the streets, yeah. Too much money to be in the streets. Too much money to spend all on me. Too much hate and not enough love. Free Larry, free Young Thug. Free Larry, free Young Thug. Back on road, go, get in that mode. Shit that they been on, low vibration, no. I'm on vibranium, cars, they titanium. You know we ain't selling, landing so by stadium.
All right, all right. I'm back. I'm back. I thank you so much for your patience, User Ben. Go ahead, unmute yourself and finish asking your question.
yeah. So, like I was saying, I have had a lot of information over the period, over this short time, as to the Black American situation in America. Now, a whole lot of terminologies have now become aware of a whole lot of names. And when sometimes you refer to Black people in America as African Americans, as Black Americans, the discussion we have doesn't go down well. People don't want to be called either African Americans or Black Americans and all that kind of stuff. So my question is simple. If you say, explain to me, when they say Black American or African American or indigenous American, what do people, and then the FBA and the FB, can you explain to me what they really mean? When you say somebody is a Black American or African American or an FBA, or I'm sort of getting confused because I've come across people who, even to the extent, tell me that slavery did not happen. And I'm like, wow. But for me, there is no doubt, there's no question that people were transported from Africa to the Americas. but to what extent, I'm not very sure. So I want you to explain to me when you say Black American, who is a Black American, or African American, who is an African American, who is an FBA, and on and on and on. For the Native Americans or the Native Indians, I know they are there. They are indigenous to America, right? I never knew that they were Black.
How do you know that? Wait. You said that you know the Native Americans are indigenous to America? Who taught you that?
You said, who taught me that?
Yes.
Well, from history, historical, this thing that I came to read about.
Did you
Right?
learn about this in Canadian school? Was this independent research or what?
Or independent reading and research.
Okay, I got
That
you.
I
I got
know
you.
that they
And
are
wait, hold on. And when you say that you've seen the Native Americans and you've done independent research, and there's no doubt that they're indigenous. Keyword indigenous. When you say that they're indigenous, I mean, I would assume that you're referring to individuals that look like this, right?
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And you're sorely mistaken. These people are not indigenous. These people are the first immigrants into America.
Okay, you can look at it that way.
No, 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 no,
Because
no, 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 no. There is not a you can look at it this way. When
you see,
you
because
wait,
you
time
see,
out. I'm speaking now. You'll let me speak. When you, as a Ghanaian living in Canada, says, I'm confused about American history, Mike. Help me learn about American history, Mike. Some of you guys call yourself African Americans, some Black Americans, some Indigenous, some FBA. Help me, Mike. Well, when I first start by educating you on the fact that this group of people that you regard as Native Americans are not Indigenous, when I highlight the fact that they are the first immigrants to this land, you have to pause and absorb that information.
okay, go on.
Don't just try to write it off of, oh, if you think like that. No, this is a fact. You've heard of the Bering Strait migration, right? So how is someone indigenous to the Americas if they traveled across the Bering Strait to get here?
Okay, so you are saying that nobody is indigenous to anywhere.
That's not what I said.
No.
I said they're not indigenous. She's not indigenous. She's an immigrant, just like you're not indigenous to Canada. You're an immigrant or you're a descendant of migrants, right?
Okay, go on.
No. Are you a first, second, or third generation migrant in Canada?
No, I'm a first generation migrant.
You're a first generation. Now help me out, since I'm an ignorant American. Does first generation mean you were born in Africa and moved here, or that you were born in Canada?
No, I was born in Africa and I moved there. I
Okay,
moved here.
so if you are born in, was it Ghana or Ghanaian?
Ghana.
Ghana is in South America. That's right. Silly me. Ghana. So if you're born in Ghana, you migrate to Canada, and you have children in Canada, and your children have children in Canada, would your grandchildren be indigenous to Canada?
No, they will not. I don't think they will be indigenous too. You see,
No. Continue the exercise of critical thought. Even if you move to Canada, have children in Canada, your children have children in Canada, you still recognize that your descendants would not be indigenous to Canada, right?
No. Let me interject. Excuse me here. Let's make this clear. If we say maybe it's the definition of indigenous, which I'm getting wrong.
Let's start
But
there. What do you think the definition of indigenous means?
So let's define who. No, I'm not very sure. Let's find out.
Time. So you're telling me that you're up here talking to me about indigeneity and you're unsure on what the definition of indigenous is?
Okay. Let me give you my understanding of when you say indigenous. Maybe somebody who has been in a place, right, where the time he was there or the time he moved there can never be traced. You can never tell that this person has been here for 50 years.
Because they've been here since the beginning of time, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And as to whether,
wait. So if
let me
these
finish.
people,
Let me finish.
wait. That's my show. I'll interject when I need to. So if these people are documented If these people are recorded as migrating from Asia, Mongolia, Russia, you see why we don't say these people are indigenous.
Okay.
We call them what they call themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Native American. All a Native American means is that you're born here. A European in America born here can call themselves a Native American if they want to. Matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
Europeans even started a political faction here called the Know Nothing Native American Party. So, again, Native American just means born here. Indigenous, Aboriginal means here since the beginning of time. These people migrated. These people are not indigenous. These people, these Black Indians that you've never seen photos of, apparently, these are what the indigenous people of the Americas look like. Not like those Asiatic Mongolian folks that you see in all the TV shows and all the movies.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. Like you're saying, maybe I've lumped all of them into one category, right? However, you are making the distinction now. So, something I'm learning now that they were indigenous. When we say indigenous, the first picture you showed me with the guy, the black guy, and I'm not even sure. I saw the picture clearly, but
Are you referring to this picture?
this picture.
This photo is of a Chata elder.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So, okay. So there are those we refer as indigenous, where actually they are descendants of immigrants. And then there are the real indigenous people. The
And
picture of
wait,
which,
and then and let's take it further. And the real black-skinned indigenous people went to war with Europeans, lost battles, were captured as slaves, and sent all across different colonies in the Americas, then reclassified as Negro, mulatto, free person of color, black, and later African American, and miseducated to believe that they come from West Africa, even though most of the African slaves went to Brazil or the Caribbean.
so you're okay.
Hold on.
So,
Here's a little more history for you. This book right here, I got this from Chief Sekou. He's the chief of the Yamasi. The chief of the Yamasi Nation gave me this book. And in this book has an interesting excerpt. Hold on a second. Let me switch my screen share around. This book is Yamasi Indians, Cultural Heritage and Practices. And right here, it tells the story of this black indigenous tribe, the Yamasi. On page 18, it says, in the early 18th century, the English established the colony of South Carolina on the territory of the Yamasi tribe. The colonists treated the Indians terribly. They stole their land and captured many Yamasi and sent them to the West Indies, where they were sold as slaves. By 1715, the Yamasi had had enough. They attacked the English and tried to drive them from their lands. Other Indians, including many Creek, joined in the fight. The English coaxed the Cherokee, who had a tense relationship with the Creek, to battle for their side. In the end, the English won, and the surviving Yamasi were forced to scatter and find new homes with other tribes. So, a lot of people talk about this transatlantic African slave trade, but everybody ignores the history of the indigenous slave trade, where indigenous people were enslaved in place.
okay. So my next thing is, for instance, we're talking about United States of America. You have a black population of over 40 million. Am I right?
I believe it's somewhere between 45 or 47
Okay.
million. Yep.
So my question is, though there is people don't like me putting it that way, but if you look at the African American population or the black population, a vast majority of them have features just like Africans. So if you say that,
Oh shit! Hold on. We look like Everest. Okay, hold on, sir. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. For the folks watching on TikTok, let me go ahead and make my camera as big as possible. Let me bring me to the front. There we go. And for the folks on YouTube, let me do a close up. Do a close up on the face. And I'm sorry, the folks on YouTube, the audio was switched over. They actually didn't even hear the last part of what you just said. Can you just please repeat the last point that you were just making? You said that the majority of Black Americans, we look like what again?
Is that you look like what?
You said that Black Americans look like who?
Africans.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Every time you say that, I can't help but laugh. I'm sorry. Okay. So, guys. I got my camera on. Hey, what's it? Time out. I got my camera on. Everybody can see my face. Look, I'm not camera shy. I'll even zoom in, guys. Okay. So now that I'm nice and zoomed in, Ghanaian man living in Canada. Tell me, what African do I look like?
But you don't look
name,
like
no. Name the country in Africa that has people that look like me.
You actually don't look like don't look very much like an African. I
Okay, wait,
believe.
hold on. You said that I don't very much look like an African. I got it. So we're moving the goalpost ever so slightly. So here's what I'll do then. Here's what I'll do. I'll bring my camera down a little bit so that everybody on TikTok can see my screen share once again. Everybody can see my screen share now. Okay, perfect. Now, guys, here's what we'll do. We'll just play a little game. Somebody on YouTube or TikTok name a prominent Black American figure. I don't care if it's an actor, an athlete, a historian. I'm just name a Black American that we can Google right now. The first name that I see, we'll go ahead and look at Will Smith. Okay, someone said Will Smith. That was the first name I saw. So Ghanaian man living in Canada, please tell me what country on the continent of Africa has Africans that look like Will Smith?
Is it, on the continent of Africa?
On the
Africans.
entire continent, there are 54 countries.
Look,
name the country that has Africans that look like Will Smith.
listen, my friend. Over the period, for African Americans.
So it sounds like the answer is you can't name one. It sounds like out of 54 countries, you can't name a single country that you think has Africans that favor Will Smith. Okay, well, here's what we'll do, guys. We're going to be here all night if we do the process of eliminations, right? Sir, unmute yourself, and maybe you can just tell us if you can name a famous Black American that you think looks like an African.
Look, let me make this point.
No. We've got 5 people backstage. This is a dictatorship. It's not a democracy. I've tasked you to give us a name of a prominent Black American that you think looks like an African. Name one, please. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
My friend, let me make this point.
Sir, this is my show. I have 5 people waiting backstage. You can make a point after you answer our question. Name a Black American that you think looks like an African, because you just made the statement that Black Americans look like Africans. You just made a blanket statement that all Black Americans look like Africans. So then I showed my face on a close-up and you said, well, okay, Mike, not you. So then I said, hey, audience members, can you name a famous Black American? Someone said Will Smith. We brought up a photo. You can't name a country in Africa that has Africans that look like Will Smith. So, sir, you tell me the name of a famous Black American that you think looks like an African.
Okay, I see somebody like Chappelle, like Harvey, right?
Chappelle. So you mean Dave Chappelle? Go ahead and unmute yourself, sir. When you say Chappelle, I think you're referencing Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, right? Harvey, Chappelle.
No. We're just going to start with one. You said Dave Chappelle. So now tell us what country in Africa has Africans that look like Dave Chappelle?
Oh, West Africa in general.
That's
West
not
Africa.
A country.
No,
name a country.
Look,
name a country. This motherfucker just said, well, West African in general. If the general West African side of the continent has people that look like Dave Chappelle, then name a country. What country in West Africa has people that look like Dave Chappelle? A country.
So why do you keep muting me?
Because it's my show, and I already told you I got 5 people backstage, and we really don't care to speak to you that much. So name the country. Unmute yourself now. Unmute yourself and name the country in West Africa that has people that look like Dave Chappelle.
Why Why do you Ghana?
Ghana, thank you. It's like fucking pulling teeth with you Africans. Ghana. Now you know what we can do? We can do some fact checking. I'm unbiased. Maybe he's right. I've never pulled up side-by-side photos of Ghanaian man and Dave Chappelle to see if they look similar. So let's do that. Ghanaian man.
The exercise you want to do.
Be quiet. Ghanaian man. Does this Ghanaian man look like Dave Chappelle, guys? Here's Dave Chappelle on the left.
Yeah,
And
maybe
here's
put my
a
picture
man.
there.
Bush baby. I said be quiet. I said be quiet. We're fact checking you right now. Does this Ghanaian man look like Dave Chappelle, guys? Put a L in the chat for no and put a W in the chat for yes. Does anyone think that this Ghanaian man on the right looks like Dave Chappelle on the left? I see nothing but L's. We've got over 70 people watching on YouTube, damn near 200 people watching on TikTok. I see nothing but L's. Well, you know what, guys? We're not done. I'm not just going to cherry pick one photo of a Ghanaian man. Let's keep it going. I think I saw more photos. Does this Ghanaian man right here favor Dave Chappelle? This is a whole collection of Ghanaian man. Oh, look. Does this one look like Dave Chappelle? Can I bring his face up bigger? Yeah. Does this guy look like? I mean, they're both bald-headed. But phenotype is much more than just whether you have hair or not. It's the shape of your cheekbones. It's the shape of the bridge of your nose, of your lips, of your chin, of your ears. I mean, guys, I don't think that this Ghanaian man looks like Dave Chappelle either, guys. Can we find a single Ghanaian man that looks like Dave Chappelle? First, old boy said that we all look like Africans. So I brought myself to the forefront, and he's like, oh, no, not you, Mike. So then we brought up Will Smith. Oh, no, not Will Smith. Well, you name one then. Dave Chappelle. And then he said Steve Harvey. We ain't even going to go there with Steve Harvey. We know damn well there ain't no Africans that look like Steve Harvey. But guys, so far we've shown like 4 or 5 Ghanaian men, and we can't find a single one that looks like Dave Chappelle. So I wonder what the Ghanaian man living in Canada is talking about. Matter of fact, guys, you know what I notice about all these photos? They're much darker skinned than us. They're much darker skinned than Dave Chappelle. These Ghanaian men don't even reach the same copper reddish hue as a Dave Chappelle. These men are much more closer to approaching the color black than a Dave Chappelle. But this man wants us to believe that Dave Chappelle looks like a Ghanaian man. Okay. All right. Well, if he wants to come back, he's welcomed. Now that I was able to prove my point, he don't know what the hell he's talking about up here. Whatever your name was, Ghanaian dude in Canada, I don't know why you're so obsessed with us. I thought you'd be worried about making sure your migration to Canada is successful, build a business, start a family, get more of your bush babies migrating over to Canada. You guys don't want to live in Africa, right? Your ancestral homeland is Ghana, but you fled there. Oh, wait, and then there's 53 other African countries you could have went to, but you were like, nah, I just don't want to live anywhere in the continent of Africa. I want to come to America. And then you're going to come to America and try to debate me on American Indian history and try to tell me that we look like Africans, but the one example you gave, you just failed miserably, Playboy. You just failed abysmally. Oh, Lord. It hurts how bad you just failed. Ugh. Let's see who the next caller is. Let's see who we got. Oh, wait, we've got user band back. Let's see what he has to say. Okay, guys, I'm going to let him speak uninterrupted. Go ahead, sir.
You see, you are sort of, you seem already angry, and you are hiding it. We are making a discussion, a civilized discussion, and you are making fun and trying to belittle me. But I'm making a point here, right?
You're right. I'm angry. And you'd be angry too if someone migrated to your ancestral homeland and tried to dictate heritage and history to you. If you were talking to a Black American who moved to Ghana and was trying to tell you the true history of the Ghanaian people and who Ghanaian people look like and where Ghanaian people come from, you'd probably get upset about that too.
I was asking you a question, right? I'm not.
You weren't asking a question, you made a statement. You made an asinine blanket statement that was disrespectful to my community. And your disrespectful statement was that we look like Africans.
And it is true. You can take it the way you want. It is a fact.
So it is a fact. It is true that we look like Africans. But the one example you gave was Dave Chappelle, and you said he looks like a Ghanaian man, and none of the photos of Ghanaian men look like Dave Chappelle. So what are we talking about here?
It is true, and it makes your claims false. It makes your claim.
Guys, I'm just an irate Black American who's ashamed to be an African, and I'm so upset because he's proving my indigeneity false. Forget the fact I literally descend from a tribal king, a chief justice of the Muskogee Creek Nation, who's literally listed on the federal Dawes roll as a full-blooded Creek by blood. Forget the fact that I am a tribal member of the Muskogee Creek Nation myself. Forget all of that because some migrant from Africa living in Canada thinks we look like Africans. Okay, guys, he got us. Forget all the history, forget the anthropology, forget all the research, guys. Africans think we look like them, so we're not indigenous. Woo. I guess I'll have to tell Uncle Sam to stop calling me an American Indian. They got to call me an African American. I mean, what are we talking about, y'all? This is so ridiculous. This is so nonsensical. And why is a Ghanaian migrant in Canada worried about us at 3 in the fucking morning, 2 in the morning? I mean, what time is it over there in Canada? This is odd behavior. But I digress. We've got another live caller. Tyrone. Tyrone, let the people know where you calling in from and what's on your mind.
Peace of the gods, peace of the panel. What's good, Mike? Charlotte, North Carolina. Long time no see, bro. They took down my old channel.
Hey,
but yeah,
well, lay it on us. What do you think about our resident African who says we're not Indian because we look like Africans?
He going off of lookership, nothing scientific whatsoever. The man only vaguely knew about some Indian stuff because he goes around these Mongol-style Canadian Native Americans looking for a green card to marry up on one of these people. Because I already know, because I was talking to this Native chick that I'm currently dating. Her side boyfriend literally was trying to get a green card off of her through an arranged marriage or something like that. So I already know where he going at it with it, because they don't know nothing about us from the southeast or the northeastern woodlands, because that history that implies us getting our reparations bag because Native Americans act funny style with us talking about our history within the southeast, and they damn sure hide behind this NAGPRA stuff because the real
Hold on. Time out. I can tell a Bush baby without even looking at your profile. Big Sister Corporate, you're a migrant. You're a descendant of people from the bush. Big Sister Corporate says, lookership. How is English you only language? Hey, you fucked up there. It's your with an R, migrant girl. You'll get it. She says, lookership. How is English you only language and you're so bad at it? I guess this Bush baby broad doesn't know that lookership is a word. Lookership is a nonce word defined as the audience of people who look or the state of being a looker or observer, essentially an audience of lookers. You learn something new, Bush baby. You're welcome. We educate you. We feed you. We do so much for you African migrants. Go ahead, Tyrone.
But yeah, natives be hiding behind the NAGPRA thing because they don't want us to dig and uncover our roots to these lands as being the first inhabitants. Because what we're finding is you have skeletal remains that are Negro in features that's been documented by YT historians that Native Americans really don't want getting out because they want to push this reverse Bering Strait theory that they're separate from the model of the Outer Africa and the Bering Strait theory, because it implies that Native Americans are mutants of black people, and they're going against the grain from what Asians and Europeans have been saying, which is we are their fathers. And that's why they don't like this Asian woman. Don't Google me or anime racists telling the truth, because
Mm-hmm.
they literally put Native Americans in their place, saying that
Oh
we
wait,
are your parents.
and you know what, Tyrone? Hold on. I'm gonna drop you down and I'm gonna bring you right back. I forgot. I got somebody up here I was seeing backstage. Oh, hold on real quick, Tyrone. I promise you, I'm gonna let you finish your thought. And actually, Tyrone, I think I gotta disconnect you. So just try to rejoin again. Human, go ahead and let us know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
Hey, Memphis, Tennessee, man. I was just looking at that the girl type that you shared, and I had just got that from the Library of Congress website. Matter of fact,
Nice.
and it, you know that the girl type that you just shared with
Yep. You're
I think it
referring
was
to the Choctaw Elder, right?
yeah, and they got that on the Library of Congress website as unidentified, but possibly Choctaw. So when I see these things and I see different people, like this, just me playing on my phone, going through the Library of Congress website and letting Google Images search up other things for me. It's readily available information, but it's like when you tell them that, it's like it's almost like they get mad at it. It's like, bro, I'm not pulling this information from pretending webs. I'm pulling this stuff straight from the
The
Library of Congress
government.
website.
From the government, yeah.
I'm this the Library of Congress website, bro. Like real talk. Like I'm not trying to pretend like it's some with the Library of Congress
Oh,
website,
and
and I'm
and you know what? I just realized that the audio cut out for the people on YouTube. So just go ahead and give us a quick rehash again about what you were referencing as far as the Library of Congress website.
the daguerreotype that you showed the picture is they take the picture with a silver plate so it shines. But when they took these pictures, they saved them in the Library of Congress, and it's like I'm looking at the same picture that I saved in my phone, and you pulled it up, and it was saying that there was a Choctaw man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most
So it was
definitely.
just like I got these little things that I find, and it's just amazing seeing other people find them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, he got the exact same picture that caught my attention, and I
Well, hey,
went down through.
let me try to make you privy to some new info. Are you aware of the allegories of the continents?
No. Oh no, you talking about the four different ones?
I'm talking about the German churches all throughout Germany that paint black Indians on the ceilings of their churches.
I think I just saw you explain it, but I haven't. I've
Okay,
never seen that in that kind of
for sure.
detail. I
Yeah.
always saw the prints. So
Yeah,
I'm looking at your live.
yeah. For anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, there are dozens and dozens of German churches all across Germany, and on the roof of their churches, they depict the American Indians. As a matter of fact, here's a. Oh wait, I'm not sharing my screen on TikTok. Hold on. Here we go. Now you guys can see my screen. This right here is a church in Germany. This is called Galdenbach Saint Martin, and right here on the wall we've got some figurines. Who are these people? What do they represent? I only see one that's black. Who's this black person with the bow and arrow in this German church? Well, if you click on the label, that's clearly a representation of America. So it's funny how they'll come to us, they'll come to our live streams and tell us how we're wabos, how we're pretendians, but they won't go to their fellow Europeans and ask them, yo, why do you depict the American Indians as black people? Here's another one. This right here is a church in Germany. Kapul, St. Anthony the Abbot. This is the church. You can go visit it. Go take a trip to Germany. And if you go to Germany and if you go to this church, you're going to see something strange on the ceiling. You're going to look around and you're going to say, oh, whoa, what is this piece right here? Who are these individuals right here? I mean, this right here is a depiction of Mary with child. This is Saint Catherine. This is Saint Dominic. And who are these figures down here looking upward? This is a representation of Asia. This, a representation of Europe. This on the far right, a representation of Africa. And this black figure in the center is America. So again, you have to ask yourselves why these Germans, why these Europeans are painting in their holiest of holy places black indigenous people. Here's the last one I'll share with you real quick. Here's the last one. I'll drop the mic on this one. This one they hid in the back hallway of the church, okay? But we've got a description here. It says bam. In the left arch sits America with dark complexion, in a gold green adorned dress over which a red cape falls. On her head, she wears a gold decorated feather headdress. While she has placed her left hand on the crocodile beside her, she seems to be warding something off with her right, almost an alarm. And guys, this is a official website from Germany. This website's literally in German. I had to click Google Translate. If you don't believe me, look, I'll untranslate the Google Translate. I'll uncheck the translate. Look at this shit. This is the original language. It was in German. I had to find this through meticulous research. I had to Google Translate it to see, wait a minute, black indigenous depictions of the what? Huh? And then when I look at the image, you see that tucked away in this back hallway of the church, you might be on your way to the bathroom or something, but if you look up, you say, "Whoa, what is that on the roof? What is that in the left arch? What is that?" Oh, that's the black representation of America in a green dress and a red cloak and a feathered headdress with her left hand on a crocodile and her right hand up in alarm. Damn.
Indigenous to America.
Okay.
It's just I found one in German the other day, and it was supposed to be it's called a copper plate.
Yep.
So they engraved it in copper, and then they hand painted it, and then they pressed it on the canvas. But I was like, damn, so you would take all that time to engrave it in copper, but it didn't mean nothing. It was just a card. I'd be like, what?
No,
why every time?
Hey, it didn't mean a damn thing. And
I'm
in
like,
that,
damn, it
and
took
in
all
that
this
same
time.
vein, and in that same vein, they'll paint this in dozens of churches, not just one church, not just two, not just. I can sit here and show you 20.
Yeah.
I can sit here and literally show you 20 back to back different German churches. This is the one I just showed you, right?
Yeah.
Here's another one, Dormitz. We'll keep it going. Behind them are America and Africa. Africa and America are characterized by their dark skin and lavish feathered headdresses representing barbaric continents. America's upper body is bare. Her skin is dark brown. A feathered skirt and a red blanket cover her hips, and bands of feathers and pearls also adorn her upper arms. A crown sits on her head, around which a colorful turban is wrapped. Her hand points downwards. She seems to be supporting the globe with her arm, indeed the entire weight of her upper body, as if she wanted to protect it from being crushed or displaced by the powerful coil of the serpent's body. And right here, we see just that. We see the black representation of America on the left, and she's got pearls, she's adorned in pearls, and she's holding up the globe that the serpent is wrapping itself around, right?
Some allegories.
And I can just keep going. We can literally just be here all day. Here's another one. Here's another church. Each image I'm showing you is a whole different church. This is a whole different church. Hildenlag. You go to Germany and go to Hildenlag, and this is the church. And if you go in here, first let's read the description. Behind him in the background, a globe separates Europe from America, while he leans against it on the other side. Hold on. I want the description of what America's looking like. Hold on. Where's the description of what America looks like? This is Africa. This is Asia. Separates Europe from America. This final paragraph is describing the depiction of America. Behind him in the background, a globe separates Europe from America, while he leans against it on the other side. Like Asia and Africa, the figure is also male, wrapped in a robe, revealing only the puff sleeves of his turquoise undergarment. His fervently folded hands in front of his chest and his heavenly gaze testify to his conversion. He wears a turban adorned with a brooch with 3 feathers on his forehead. A brilliant white of the feathers and the pearls at the hem of his robe contrast with his dark brown skin. And let's see if we see exactly that on the wall of this church. This is the black personification of America with the pearls and the oh wait, excuse me. That's not the right one. This is a darker complexion individual. Whenever we see allegories of the continents and we got somebody
Yeah,
real dark approaching to be black,
yeah.
that's the African. Remember, they said the African and the American are both dark brown, both dark skin, but they said that the American indigenous person was
Was
converted. So they have
leaning
their
on the
hands up.
globe,
Yeah, and they have their hands up in prayer, right? That's this person.
leaning
Hands
on the
up, leaning
globe.
on the globe, turban, feathers in the hair. Yeah, that's the depiction of the American Indians.
You want to know something else about this little print that I found? I found this little print from, and I had to translate it from Dutch or German as well. $200 just for the print.
Oh yeah, I found books that
It
are
costs more when you
$14,000.
It costs
Fourteen
more when you
thousand. Yeah.
start putting borders on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a piece of paper without the borders on it.
Hey,
So
and check this one out. This is another church in Germany, whole separate location. Again, we've got a description. In the left half of the picture, the male personifications of Asia and America honor the Eucharistic Son. The representative of the Orient, I think that's the Asian, the Orient, is
yeah,
recognizable by his turban crowned with a crescent moon and a trimmed cloak. He holds
they were
aloft
Muslim.
an incense burner, while his companion, this is the American Indian, his companion is a naked black Indian. Oh, damn. A naked black Indian with a feathered crown and a feathered skirt raises his hands in a gesture of prayer, his gaze directed heavenward. A flowing blue cloth attached to his left shoulder with a chest strap partially conceals the nakedness of his legs. Let's see if we can find that anywhere. A naked black Indian wrapped in a blue cloak. Oh, damn. Hands up. Oh, damn. Whoa. You don't say. So it's one thing for, and I'm not trying to knock nobody, but it's one thing for folks to get into this indigenous space and talk about black folks are Indians, we're reclassified, we're Indians, but it's another thing for you to come over to Mike TV and see nothing but receipts, sources cited. This is the name of the website. If anybody wants it, it's in German. ardentillegoren.univ.ac.at. I mean, but guess what? I've actually done the hard work for you guys. If you go to my website, nativeblackancestry.com, I've built out a digital archive with over 600 documents, family photos, newspaper clippings, ex-indigenous slave interviews, Indian slave ads, you name it. So if anybody wants the research, if anybody wants the documentation, if any of you fellow content creators want to be able to show the sources as you cite the claim, then go check out the digital archive, nativeblackancestry.com. But I
Did you
digress.
see? Did you see the daguerreotypes of the Americans that they sent to Liberia?
No.
They got the same, like the daguerreotype that you had of the Choctaw. They got a woman. I'm talking about, man, because it's so bright, it's beautiful, but it's like, damn, I'm looking at them like, are they? They like, yeah, those are Americans that we sent to Liberia. So they sending Americans that's from here to Liberia as well.
Colonization Society started in 1812 to send free black folks to Liberia. Wait a minute. If Emancipation Proclamation didn't happen until 1863, Civil War doesn't happen until 1865. Who were all these free black folks in America in 1812?
Gold on. Yeah. With gold on.
With gold.
Every one of them got gold on. It's shining in the picture.
And guys, some people believe that the game is meant to be sold, not told. Of course, I'm a one-man operation. I'm trying to keep the lights on. So those that want to support the mission, you can go to the website, nativeblackancestry.com. You can become a member for only $14. Gives you access to a book list of all of my primary sources, as well as a digital archive with over 600 documents. And let me just give you a little free sneak peek into some of the type of receipts we have in this archive I built out. I mean, they want to say we from Africa. They want to say that we came from Africa. Well, why, when they were trying to send us, quote unquote, back to Africa, why is it that this is how our ancestors was talking about Africa? This is Frederick Douglass's own newspaper, the North Star. He wrote this in January 22nd, 1852. He's talking about the colonization scheme, the scheme to get us to colonize Africa, right? He says, There is no sentiment more universally entertained nor more firmly held by the free colored people of the United States than that this is their native land, and that here, for good or for evil, their destiny is to be wrought out. Identified with the entire history of the American people going back more than 200 years, this sentiment is natural and praiseworthy. There is not now, there never has been, and we think there never will be any general desire on the part of our people to emigrate from this land to any other, and least of all to the wilds of Africa. Damn.
Come on, G.
If we from Africa, then why was our ancestors talking greasy about Africa?
Come on, man.
And I got more than this. I mean, I told you 600 plus documents, Black Indian obituaries, ex-slave interviews. I'm just going to find another newspaper clipping for you guys to drive the point home. There was a newspaper clipping in early 1900s. I think it was a Black doctor, Dr. J.R. Hawkins. He talks about our wealth, our spending power, and how we ain't no damn Africans. Oh, here it is. Here it is. He says right here, Kansas City, Missouri, disenfranchise the Negro and send him back to Africa? Absurd. Impossible. More than $1 billion worth of United States real estate, which he owns in his own name in the United States, is not easily to be taken from him. Besides, the Negro is not an African. He is an American. African is a misnomer.
Damn.
Why try to send him to a country which is not his own?
Damn.
But that's how our ancestors was talking about Africa. But the school teacher wants to try to convince you from Africa. Guys, please, if you want to support the mission, go to the website for 14 bucks. You can get access to the whole archive. But I love my people so much, I'm gonna give you a little something for free 99. Check out this ex-indigenous slave interview. Check this out. We're gonna start with Spence Johnson. Now, Spence Johnson is calling it like it is. He says the N-word with a hard R. You know, that's how it was back in the day. To abide by community guidelines, I will substitute the N-word with a hard R by saying grr. So if I ever say grr, you know that's an N-word with a hard R. Okay, guys? Let's go ahead and read this ex-slave interview from Spence Johnson. It says Spence Johnson was born free, a member of the Choctaw Nation in Indian Territory in the 1850s. He does not know his exact age. He and his mother were stolen and sold at auction in Shreveport to Riley Surratt, who lived near Shreveport on the Texas-Louisiana line. He has lived in Waco since 1874, and these are his own words. The Grr Stealers done stole me and my mommy out the Choctaw Nation up in the Indian Territory when I was about 3 years old. Brother Knox, Sis Hannah, and my mammy and her 2 stepchildren was down on the river washing. The Grr Stealers drive up in a big wagon, and mammy just thought nothing, cause the fort was near there, and people was going on the road stopping to get water for the horses and to rest in the shade a while. By and by, a man coaxes the 2 biggest children to the carriage and gives them some kind of candy. Other children see this and they go too. 2 other men was walking around smoking and getting closer to mammy all the time. When he can, the man in the carriage got the 2 big stepchildren in with him, and him and the sister climbed in too to see how come. Then the man holler, "Get that old one and let's get from here." With that, the 2 men took off. Then the man holler, "Get the old one and let's get from here." With that, the 2 big men grabbed mommy, and one fought and screeched, and she bit and she cried. But they hit her on the head with something and drug her in and throwed her on the floor. The big children began to fight for mommy, but one of them hit him hard, and then they drive off under the horse's whip. This was near a place called Baggy Depot. They went down the Red River, crossed the Red River, and down in Louisiana to Shreveport. And this is just page 1. Black indigenous person kidnapped from Indian Territory in the 1850s, sent to a plantation. Come on. Ellen Cragen, I got another one. Black indigenous, stolen, sent to plantations. Joanna Draper, another one. Black indigenous, stolen, sent to plantations.
Damn, cuz. Damn, cuz.
The receipts.
Come on.
And
man.
anybody who wants to become a member of the website, drop the $14. help support the mission, and you can have access to all these documents. You can download them to your phone, to your computer, share them on social media with family or friends. Check out this. Hey, brother, have you ever seen a fugitive slave ad?
Mm-mm.
A fugitive slave ad is when a plantation slave runs away, so the slave master puts an ad out in the local newspaper. Hey, bring my slave back to me. I'm offering a cash reward, right? Let's read through some of these fugitive slave ads. Come on. Some believe that the game is meant to be sold, not told, but I'll get this to you for free. And if I'm giving this to you for free 99, imagine what else is in the archive just waiting for you to discover. Check this one out. I love to start with this one. This is a fugitive slave ad from October 24th, 1800. $10 reward. Run away from the subscriber on the 15th. A Negro girl named Nellie, 16 years of age,
Really?
flout built, rather short, yellow complexion, long Indian hair. Now, wait a minute. Time out. If we're supposed to believe that all plantation slaves in North America came from Africa, have you guys ever seen an African that's yellow complexion with long Indian hair?
Come on, man.
Oh, but y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Check out this one. Prince William, June 1st, 1776. $10 reward. Run away from the subscriber on his journey from Williamsburg on the 11th of May near King William County. A mulatto servant man named John Newton, about 20 years of age, an Indian by birth. He's an Indian by birth, but he becomes a mulatto servant man, huh? This is
I'm trying to take these folks to
irresputable.
court.
This is irresputable evidence that they reclassified indigenous people as Negro and mulatto. Here's another one. September 30th, 1851, $100 reward. Run away from the subscriber on the 29th. John, sometimes called John Carwile, a mulatto fellow showing Indian blood. Damn. See, a lot of you guys hear the term mulatto and you've been programmed to believe that that means like part African, part European. No, scratch that. Mulattoes were either people that were full-blooded indigenous, but they were fairer skin. So instead of reclassifying them as Negro, they reclassify them as mulatto. But they can be a full-blooded Indian. Or sometimes European elitist plantation owners would have children with local indigenous women, and their offspring would be classified as mulatto as well. Either way, the base is indigenous. Don't have to have no African in there at all to be reclassified as a mulatto, right?
Thanks.
Come on. From the subscriber, living in Pulaski County near Hawkinsville on the 31st of July, 1853, a Negro man by the name of Hawkins. He is of old median height, of yellow complexion. It is said that he is half Indian. But when they do their slave movies every few years, they ain't showing you no Indians on the plantation. Oh, wait, they are depicting Indians on the plantation. They're reclassified as African, though. See?
I'm so sick of them slave movies, cuz.
Come on. So please, guys, check out the website, nativeblackancestry.com. You can become a member for only $14, get access to the book list, the digital archive, and I do update the book list and the digital archive weekly. Just last week, a few days ago, matter of fact, I added some new receipts about Crispus Attucks, proving definitively that he had indigenous ancestry. He's another person reclassified as an African when he's 100% Indian. This is an excerpt from a book I came across. It says here, if so many whites were there, did they not tend to discourage the Indians from being interested in the meeting? Mr. Marston thought it might. Here the terms colored, persons, blacks, and Indians are synonymous. They all mean Marsh P Indians. So right here in this book, it's telling you that Marsh P Indians were reclassified as colored persons, blacks, and Indians. It was synonymous. In 1763, Marsh P was incorporated as a district in words as follows, quote, be it enacted that all lands belonging to the Indians and mulattoes in Marsh P. This seems to be alliterative law phraseology covering a people. But guys, when you go to school, you go to college, and they teach you about Crispus Attucks, the first martyr of the Boston Massacre, they tell you he was an African-American man, even though the term African-American didn't exist until 1988. and the Boston massacre was 1770. Yeah.
Mm.
So in 1770, these black indigenous man is the first martyr of the Boston massacre, but they rewrite history and raise our children to think he's an African American. All right. And I think it was you who was talking about those copper breastplates and these depictions in the European museums, right?
Yeah, yeah. They on the Library of Congress website as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it. Right in front of your face. Right in front of your face. But yeah, brother, I got a few more people backstage. So go ahead,
Oh
leave us with some
yeah,
closing
man.
remarks, or if you have any more questions or anything, go for it. You
Man,
got the floor.
I just really appreciate all the time and energy you put into the craft, man, and just actually showing actual factual historical documents with actual definitive terms to back up what you're saying and actually reading down. Like I be trying, but it's like they get mad at me as soon as I show them. Like, bro, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to say F Africa or anything in any kind of way. I'm just trying to say it's stuff you can go see for yourself. I mean, the news. I got a newspaper clipping that even said the newspaper clipping was called the Colored American.
All right.
That was the name of the newspaper. This in the Library of Congress. It's not stuff I'm making up.
If they were Africans, they would just call them African.
Man, thank you,
But
bro.
if they were indigenous people that they were reclassifying, then they'd have to play hot potato with their racial identity. One century, we call them Negroes, and then mulattoes, and colored, free person of
Colored.
color, black, African American. You know what? But if there's so much evidence of these black indigenous people existing before European colonization, then you know what we also have to do to these indigenous people we're subjugating? We have to make sure that they don't read and they don't write.
Damn. Come on. Man, I'm gonna holler at you, cuz. 1,000. I'm finna subscribe.
Come on, come on. I appreciate you tapping in, brother. And shout out to I think it was Woo Man. I think it was somebody in the chat named Woo Man. The chat's moving so fast. I may be butchering your name. It was Woo something. They said that they just found my YouTube channel. They subscribed. Folks on TikTok, I'm mostly a YouTuber. So if you like this content you're seeing from me on TikTok, right now we're live on YouTube as well, right? But I've got thousands of hours of content on YouTube. Check out my main YouTube page, Mike TV. I've also got another YouTube page called Native Black Ancestry, and I've got a third that I just launched, which is the Native Black American Network. So 3 different YouTube channels. For the folks watching me on YouTube, I've got 2 different TikToks. So I've got the Mike TV TikTok, and I've got the Native Black Ancestry TikTok as well. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody being a part of what we call the Great Awakening. And if any of you guys have yet to trace your family heritage, if any of you have heard stories of indigenous ancestry but don't really know how to connect the dots, how to prove it, how to do the research, how to get tribal citizenship, then check out nativebblackancestry.com. You can pull up my calendar, pick a day and time that works best for you, and get a one-on-one personalized genealogy consultation with me, where I'll teach you the 3-step process that me and my family used to trace our heritage and get tribal citizenship with the Muskogee Creek Nation back in 2021.
Hi, my name is Frances Tuck, and I contacted Mike from Mike TV on YouTube because I wanted to find out about my family's Native American history that I believed existed. Through the research that I was able to do through Mike TV, I was able to find out that our name is indeed on the registry. I had a consultation with Mike today, and because of his advice and the research that he has done, I am now confident that I'm able to find my family's roots in the Native American History database. Thank you, Mike.
Check it out, y'all. Real people, real results. What are you waiting for? Make sure to check out nativebblackancestry.com. But you know what? We've got a couple more people waiting oh so patiently backstage on TikTok. Let me bring them up. Next person we're bringing from the back to the front. Oh, damn, we got a few. Gucci Freak. That's an interesting name. All right, Gucci Freak, go ahead. Let us know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind. Gucci, are you there? All right, Kat's got her tongue. We got too many people waiting backstage for y'all to not have it together. Bumblebee. Let's see if we can get Bumblebee up here. Bumblebee, where you calling in from and what's on your mind?
Florida.
All right, lay it on us.
I'm sorry I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said lay it on us. What's on your mind?
Well, actually, I just wanted to thank you. I just subscribed to your thing here. Actually, I just turned my computer off because I wasn't on it, but I've been going through it all and just wanted to say thank you so much for everything. And I will be sending you a message later for consultation.
Nice, nice. Well, I definitely look
Yeah.
forward to connecting with you. And you know what? If you could do me a favor, a lot of people email me daily asking about consultations, and I actually created an automated process. So if you like, instead of emailing me to reach out, what you can do is just go straight to the website nativeblackancestry.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the homepage, if you scroll down a little bit, it says discover your native black ancestry, book a one-on-one genealogy consultation. If you click the
Okay.
book now tab, you can select a couple of add-ons. You can get a regular genealogy consultation where I teach you that 3-step process, or you can pay a little extra to get a recording of the consultation as well. That way you don't have to worry about taking notes. Or some people elect to get an extra history lesson on Indigenous history, where the meeting is like an extra hour long, and I teach you more historical context about our Aboriginal heritage. And then, after you select the consultation that works for you, you can actually pull up a calendar and it'll let you pick a day and time that works good for you. So, I really worked hard to streamline the process. And even though I got it streamlined, dozens of people still hit me up via email. And when you email me, I'm just going to redirect you back to the website anyway. So,
Yeah.
guys,
I saw that. I saw that part too. I didn't want to hit that up because I was going through the other part of it, and I just think this is amazing what you're doing. So far, I've only gotten to my great grandmother who was from Louisiana, but I'm stuck on her right now. I can't seem to find her birth or death certificate. So when I saw you on this, I was like, yeah, that's the guy about the Ancestry, blacknative.com. So I went on ahead and ordered and subscribed and everything, the $14.99 thing.
Oh,
So
nice. Well, I appreciate you becoming a member of the website, and yeah, if you're ever interested in booking a one-on-one consultation, or if anybody out there watching is interested in a genealogy consultation, make sure to use the coupon code TikTok, all one
mhm.
word, all lowercase. If you use the coupon code TikTok at checkout, that gives you an extra 20% off your consultation.
Oh, great. Great. I didn't see that part. Okay, thank you. But that's all I wanted to say. I'll let the next person come up because I know you got a lot of people that's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
willing to talk. But thank you again, brother.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Look forward to connecting with you. And let me see if we still got those folks waiting backstage. I know sometimes people get a little impatient backstage. Yeah, we got a couple more. Lance, let's see if we can get Lance up here. Lance, where you calling in from and what's on your mind? Oh, well, you know what? Lance got stage fright. Tyrone's back. Tyrone, what's on your mind? Go for
What's
it.
good? What's good? I see Coco being a chatty patty in the comment section, but she won't come up or he, whatever it is. But anyway, what I was saying about uh, our indigeneity, we have the proof. We got probate records, we got land deeds, we got the skeletons. Like they literally was talking about how these Paleo Indian skulls from the Pleistocene epoch era are different from Mongoloid modern Native Americans. They have Negroid features. They was even calling them Proto-Negroid. So I don't understand why these Native Americans got so much smoke and animosity towards us when we're on the right path of gaining practical reparations. Because many of these 5 civilized tribes, they rolled back their anti-black decisions and are begging us to come on up here and prove our genealogy. But you got these naysayers in the chat that's being keyboard warriors babbling, saying that us having the right to self-proclaim our identity is allegedly illegal, which that's not true at all, because many of these people have the right to self-identify. What is actually illegal is you selling Native American arts and crafts without tribal permission. That's the legal part. But just saying and announcing your indigenous tribe and bloodline, that is in no way illegal whatsoever. And he keeps bringing up DNA tests, which we all know for a fact Native Americans don't even use DNA. They don't even trust it.
And
They
back
don't
in the
even
day when they
volunteer.
were doing it, their DNA pointed to Asia.
Yep, Asia. And many of the science that these YT people say is that they are admixed mutants of black people that that left to Africa thousands of years
Oh, you
ago
know what?
before the Asians.
Real quick, Tyrone, I actually got Lance back. I'm gonna do the same thing as before. I'm gonna drop you down, and you request one more time. Lance says he doesn't have stage fright. It was probably just a connection issue of some sort. And shout out to whoever just sent me a message through the website. Who is this? Okay. Oh yeah. Y'all are active. I appreciate everybody checking out the website, nativeblackancestry.com. Lance is back. Lance, where are you? Where are you? There you are. Lance,
Okay, can you hear
let
me?
us know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
I'm calling from Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Come on, brother. You know it's way too damn noisy for you to be calling into a live stream. And I had to mute you immediately, brother. I don't know if you're at work or what's going on, but come on, brother. Is there any way that we can minimize the background noise a little bit? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, is that better?
Nah, your background noise is still really loud.
Just a second, Turn it off. Okay, is that better?
Not really, but you can just go ahead and rock out. Go for it.
Okay, just real quick, man. I just want to say something. It's disingenuous, man, for anybody to think that we're not native, that we're not the native people from here. I mean, people say things, and certain, there's certain things that people say, and they'll follow it with something else, and it just doesn't. They don't go together. So if black people are original people, unless we were stuck in one place, aren't we indigenous to everywhere on the planet? Did you hear me?
Yep, that is the way of
I
looking
mean,
at it.
and like I said, unless we were stuck in one place, we got to be indigenous to here, Europe, Russia, everywhere. Everything came from us, right or wrong.
That is a theory. Yep.
You know, so. I mean, but we didn't come from Africa, man. There's no way a ship can't sail from Africa straight to the American coast now. The ships that we have, it can. Okay, and you'd be crazy to think that we were sitting up like spoons in the bottom of boats, like right here on this picture you got right here. You know what I'm saying? We were sitting up like spoons in the bottom of boats. It would have taken 9 months for us to get here. Everybody would have been unalived, just naturally unalive. So that's nuts. That's nuts to think that they brought us from Africa, man. And the our skull structure is different than Africans. And what we're talking about, 400 years, that's not long enough to change a skull structure.
True. Very, very true. And yeah, Lance, I appreciate you calling in. Gotta cut it a little bit short just because of the background noise. You know, next time you call in, just make sure that the background noise is minimized. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. And yes, those same Pan Africans that promote the out of Africa theory and say that the Chinese were black and that the Europeans were black, well, they think that the Americas was just empty until some Africans migrated or some Asians came across the Bering Strait, right? So yeah, I'm definitely picking up what you're putting down. And let's see who we got next. Silent Traveler. Silent Traveler is hopefully not calling in from a construction zone. Let's see. It's trying to connect. It's trying. They calling in from McDonald's lobby. That McDonald's Wi-Fi ain't cutting. No, I'm kidding. You can go ahead and try to rejoin again. The Wi-Fi wasn't Wi-Fi in there. We are going to wrap up the broadcast in a little bit. If anybody wants an encore, you know what to do. Somebody on YouTube can drop a super chat, become a member of the YouTube channel. or folk on TikTok can send this Indian boy some corn or something. Let me know that you want the broadcast to keep on keeping on. I'm wondering where the contrarian people are at, though. I'm wondering where the naysayers, where the detractors are. I mean, all you folks that want to say that we're pretendians and we're wabos. I mean, why don't you want to call in? Is it because you see that I come with such heavy-handed receipts that are irrefutable? Is it because you know that your argument fails before it even begins because I am living proof of Black American indigeneity? I mean, why is it that all these folks have been so active in the comment section? I mean, Lord knows they've been keyboard warriors, but they're afraid to call in and talk to Mike. Damn. You don't say. Mm-mm-mm. But you know what? Let me throw some invites out in the ether. I'm gonna just throw some invites out there. Hopefully, some of these people I'm sending invites to on TikTok are contrarian detractors, naysayers who believe that all Black Americans come from West African chattel slavery. Because I'd really like to learn something about your perspective. I mean, I've been educating so many people tonight about the Native Black American culture, about our heritage, about our history, but I mean, can we get any Pan Goofies? I mean, sorry, can we get any Pan Africans to call in and tell us how we're all African? We had one Ghanaian immigrant try to tell us we all look like Africans, but that failed. Yeah, shout out to the chat. Hey, put some fists or feathers in the chat if you were here earlier when the Ghanaian migrant tried to say that Dave Chappelle looks like a Ghanaian man. Yeah, that one did not end well. And we've got Lynn. Lynn, let the people know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
I'm from Philly.
Lay it on us.
Oh no. I was just listening in. Man, I'm digging what you're putting down, good brother. I understand the situation. I missed the Ghanaian brother.
That was a good
I done
one.
got blocked from multiple lives after they told me I look African or sub-Saharan, and they can't handle the truth. So all they do is start shouting and try to have you caught up in gotcha moments and stuff.
Yeah. And Sonia, thank you for the rose. Shout out to Stormy Rain. Thank you for the roses. Free Mind, Open Mind. Thank you for the gifts. Hated Melanated. Thank you. Sugar, appreciate you. Desert Eagle, appreciate you. Tyrone, all the folks sending gifts. I'm really bad about getting notifications of the gifts. So shout out to everybody supporting the work. But yeah, Lynn, go ahead and finish out your thought, brother. What else is on your mind? I know it gets interesting. Everybody's infatuated with us, right? I had some Europeans calling in, trying to learn about us. We had some African migrants calling in, trying to learn about us. And hey, I'd rather take the devil that you know. I'd more readily rock with a European American who's open to learning the true history of our people than some African migrant trying to tell us that we look like Africans, so we're not indigenous. I mean, what kind of shit is that? You know what? Len got disconnected. I don't know what was going on over there. I think I saw some more people backstage though. Goddess and Gods. Let's see if we can get them up here. Goddess and Gods, let us know where you're calling in from and what's on your mind.
I'm from Cherokee County, Georgia. I have a question. When you put up the German churches, I know they label a lot of everything. They label it African, and when I was looking on the Google, it was still saying Moors, Moor. But how would you know if it's Muur or Moor?
Yeah, so I showed several examples tonight
Oh,
of
I missed
well,
it.
no, let me finish. I showed several examples tonight of those allegories of the continents that are painted on German churches. Nowhere in here at all does it say that they were Moors.
Okay.
Whether Moor or Muur, it clearly says American. It clearly says
Oh,
American
good.
Indian. It clearly says the black personification of America. Doesn't say anything
Okay.
about Africa, doesn't say anything about Moor. It does have a depiction of an African, but it calls them an African, and that is a totally different person from the American Indian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a YouTube? Are you on YouTube? Because
Yep, I am.
I'm trying to keep information together so I
Yeah.
can prove points and stuff.
Yeah,
That's why.
I'm live on YouTube right now. Mike TV. Got about
Mike TV, MIKE
yep,
TV.
MIKE
Okay.
space TV. Got about 30,000 subscribers, 33,000. So you know it's me. That's just one of three YouTube channels I got. I've also got
Okay.
the YouTube channel Native Black Ancestry. So that's another one
Okay.
that you can check out. And then I've got a third channel, Native Black American Network. So
Okay,
that's
it's
another
just
one that you
because
can check
these
out.
lives with these lives, you can't. It's some channels that's on here. They give really good information, but you can't record the live and you can't go back.
Well, no. So that's why every time I'm live on TikTok, I'm also live on YouTube. So everybody who's
Okay,
tuning in tonight, who's like, "Damn, I missed something. I want to watch the replay." Just go to
yeah.
YouTube and you can see the full replay of the live stream.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
You have a
yeah.
nice night.
Thanks for calling in. You
Bye.
too. Peace. All right, yeah, folks. That's why I started live streaming on TikTok and YouTube so that you guys can watch the replays. I'm telling you, I've got thousands of hours of content on YouTube. You know, if you like what you're seeing on TikTok, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Let's see who else we got. And we are going to wrap up this broadcast sooner than later, so make sure to call in, guys. We got Lynn back. Let's see if we can hear Lynn. Lynn, go ahead. Pick up where you left off.
My bad. Got had to drop that. One of my I run a maintenance company. I had an emergency call, but yeah, it always gets back to the number of Africans they say came over here. I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They say 388,000. All right, that's all well and good. But even when you go deeper into that, you find there's a lot of flaws in it. Even if we rounded up the number to 400,000, each of the people they say they brought over here would have had to have 20 surviving children. That would be each of the couple. And that's saying we split the man and woman count 50-50 of the people they brought over here. Also, we know they didn't bring them all over here at once. And so over 250 years, 388,000, that's like 1,250 plus people a year. That's roughly 101 people a month or something like that. 100.5 people a month. But like I said, as you go deeper into it, the numbers don't add up. So if we split the count 50-50, man and woman, they would have had to, like I said, have 20 surviving women apiece. 20 surviving children apiece. But we know that when they supposedly had took people, they were looking for strong men. So the count would have been more realistically like somewhere between 75 to 85% male, 15% women. So the whole numbers thing, like it just falls apart.
Oh, damn, and he dropped off again. He was cooking. Yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. When the numbers and the statistics are manipulated by men, well, hey, they're subject to fault and false interpretation. But yeah. Oh, and guys, I almost forgot to mention for anybody that visits my website, nativeblackancestry.com, as a thank you for visiting the website, you can download a free copy of my ebook, Reclassified: The Hidden History of Black Indians in the Southeast from Indian to Negro. So again, there are those of you that really support my work. You pay the $14 a month to get access to the digital archive. There's some of you that can still get the receipts via this free ebook. So I'm trying to make the information as accessible as possible. Besides doing the one-on-one consultations and the hours and hours of live streaming. You know what? We've got Lynn back. All right, Lynn, go ahead. Pick up where you left off.
I don't know what just happened, but yeah, like I said, the numbers just don't lie, So there's no way it happened. Also, when we look back at the 3/5 rule, that was before Plecker and all the other stuff, early 1800s. 3/5 rule was they counted for every 5 black people they counted, they only gave us credit for 3 people. So that's another way they diluted the numbers, and then they tell us, "Oh no, they killed off all the Aboriginals or the original people with diseases." Nah, people wasn't killed off. It was paper genocide. Between
Damn, I'm
that,
so confused. Like, do you think that the trolls are just afraid of me or something? Because I see them so active in my chat, but they do not want to call in. I don't know what it is.
they don't want that smoke.
Butterfile, is it a Butterfile? Why don't you call in and tell me how I'm not really indigenous and you're indigenous? I mean, Butterfile says I am Native American, Indian American, indigenous here. Millions of years old. You are not. Hey, I've never met someone who's millions and millions of years old. Why don't you call in and tell us about it? And then you know what?
Yeah,
If
please.
you're not only indigenous, but you're also millions of years old. And wait, you're not only indigenous and millions of years old, but also I'm not indigenous. Then you know what? You should be able to come up here and show us one of these. You should be able to show us your tribal citizenship card for the tribal nation you are a citizen of, if you're really indigenous and been here for millions and millions of years.
Oh,
But if
not just that. Not just that.
but if this quote unquote black man can show citizenship with a federally recognized tribe, proving that the United States government recognizes me and my family as an American Indian, and you can't show the same, then we know who the true pretendian is. But I digress.
Was that person of nomadic descent or
Probably a
Spaniard?
Siberian Husky or a
Or
descendant of conquistadors. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
if they're pale, or if they're pale skinned, then the millions of years or whatever, we already know that's BS. But they couldn't have been around no longer than between 6,000 to 10 years, 6,000 to 10,000 years. That's being generous. They're a mutation. So all that original people, no, a recessive can't create a dominant. And as melanated individuals, we are the dominant gene or genome. And so all that stuff crumbles up. This is why they don't want to have a real conversation. They want to start arguing, or they want to drop in and drop little stupid stuff in the comments and stuff and run. They scared. They see everything coming to light. They see stuff crumbling. They see they people getting deported, and they're supposed to be the original people. How can you get deported from your land when you're the original people?
Hey, if you're the real American Indian, why is ICE running up on your reservation?
Absolutely. I ain't seen not one black American get snatched up.
Hey,
Say what you want.
every single black American from across the nation has a sinking feeling in their gut when a police officer gets behind us while we're driving, right? But you know what? No black American gets that same sinking feeling in our gut if an ICE agent is behind us or if an ICE agent stops us.
It's
If
kind of
anything,
comical
it's
at that
comical.
point.
It's funny to us, bro. You think I'm what? Here's my paperwork. Nah, bro. You good. It's cool. Get the migrants out of here. Yeah, it's cool.
Like, dude, you way outside your jurisdiction right now.
Hey, it actually happened to me before. The one time I went to Tijuana, I don't even know how I got into Tijuana. It was my first time ever going to Mexico. I drove with some friends. We went through like the shadiest border crossing ever. It was like one Mexican dude with an AK dressed in all black. It looked like it was Iraq, like there was rubble everywhere, and he just like
Was
looked
y'all
up.
going to a club?
No. We were going to pick up someone's family member. My older sister, half sister, she's indigenous on my father's side, but through her mother's side, she's a part of a different tribe. And she had a brother who lived in Mexico, whatever. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm in Tijuana. I get in there through like the shady way or whatever. I'm expecting to see like a big professional U.S. border, right? No, I saw that on the way into America.
Yeah.
When you go into Mexico, it's like whatever. Like you cross a road, you're in Mexico, right? But when you come to get back into the greatest nation on earth, that's when you get jammed up at the border. So I remember I was wearing a hoodie. I was kind of tired. I was slumped over, and we go through the border crossing, and the border agents are acting a little hostile with me. They're like, "Where have you came from? How far from South America did you travel?"
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm from California. What are you talking about? And I handed him my California ID, and then like he relaxed a little bit. He was like, "Oh, okay." And then over my life, I've realized that I'm a little bit racially ambiguous. I've realized that if I got a certain hat on, certain glasses, people will think I'm Hispanic. If I got a certain outfit on or something, hey, let me put on a turban. Motherfucker gonna think I'm Moorish or Middle Eastern or something, right? So you find that Native Black Americans come in such different, varying shades of copper or red hues. We can create the lightest of lightest complexion and the darkest of dark, but Africans, Europeans, I mean, they're fairly one-dimensional.
Absolutely. Also, the Africans, I don't know what it is with their eyes. It's like they yellow. Like their eyes aren't like our eyes. You look at them and you can tell by the eyes, like, oh yeah, that's an African.
Hey,
Got that jaundice look in their eyes.
your mama should have left your ass in the NICU when you was born. Oh wait, you don't have a NICU. Oh wait, you don't even have a hospital. Oh wait, you were born in the bush. Okay, I don't blame you.
There you go. Go tell me about education when y'all come over here to get a better education. Like I ain't never seen nobody running to Nigeria to go to college.
Hey, you got to come to my ancestral homeland to reach a level of success, huh? And your level of success you reach over here is being my Uber driver.
Or following me around the market like the security guard did yesterday. I asked him, did he want to carry my bags for me? Like, he passed me like 6 or 7 times when me and my wife was going through the market. And I'm like, all right, this is kind of ridiculous. My wife, like, come on. I know you're about to, yeah, I'm about to say something. This dude following me around, he might as well carry my bags. Like, what the hell?
Hey, let's talk about it. But all right, brother, it was nice chopping it up with you. I'm about to wrap up this broadcast here in a little bit. If anybody wants an encore, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, send a gift, hit a super chat, become a member, all that good stuff. But Lynn, wants you? Oh, damn! I was gonna give you the chance to leave us with some closing remarks, but he already dipped. Eva the Diva says, nah, they all doctors and lawyers and nurses. You know what? Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say every African that comes over here as a doctor, as a nurse, as a lawyer. Don't you think you Africans could really use a doctor back in one of your African countries? I mean, y'all are suffering from famine and disease and biological terror. I mean, don't you think that you can use a lawyer on the continent of Africa? Maybe then you do better business deals with the Russians and the Chinese. I mean, don't you think that the continent of Africa really has a shortage of nurses? So if we play devil's advocate and say they all migrate over here and become doctors and nurses and lawyers, I guess they just don't give a damn about their fellow people, because instead of helping to fix their ancestral homeland, they'd rather flee to a Western nation? Damn. We don't get down like that, y'all. Jim Crow, redlining, massacres. The most migration we do is moving from the southeast to the east coast, moving from the southeast to the west coast. But we could never even imagine en masse relocating to a whole nother side of the globe. What? You know why? Because we like home. Home is really nice. It's really comfortable. We have everything we need right at home. Guys, I could live and die and never travel the Eastern Hemisphere, and I wouldn't be missing a damn thing. March of this year was the first time going to Puerto Rico. I'm going back in December. Then I want to check out some other islands in the Caribbean, maybe even go as far as American Samoa, check out Hawaii, Alaska, maybe get up to Canada. We have so much here in the Americas to where we ain't even tripping about going over to what, London? The sewer city of London? Guys, I've got friends, Black American friends, who went over there on vacation. They said London smells like piss and graffiti. Them Europeans over there don't even wear deodorant and shit. The food is whack. Garbaggio. The food is garbaggio. They eating baked beans and shit, y'all. Where am I supposed to go, to Africa? I'm supposed to go take a vacation to Egypt and see some of our old native Black American monuments that have now been taken over by Muslim foreigners? I mean, nah, I'm cool. We got plenty of pyramids here in the Americas to go visit. I think if I want to go visit a pyramid, I'll go visit the largest pyramid in the world, which is located in Pueblo, Mexico, Gulf Coast. If I want to see a big pyramid, I'll go St. Louis, Missouri, and go check out the Cahokia Mounds. I'll go check out the truncated pyramid that they positioned the Philadelphia Museum of Art on top of. If I want to see a pyramid, I mean, we've got over 1,000 pyramids in the Americas, only 300 in Africa. So, I mean, what does the Eastern Hemisphere really offer us? Honestly, I'd rather go take a trip to Asia. I'm down to go to the Philippines, check out Vietnam, Thailand maybe. But Europe? Africa? Ugh. You can pay me to go there. The Middle East? Dubai? Were they pooping on chicks doing porta potty parties? God damn it, if that ain't a tongue twister. Porta potty parties. Whoa. The pompous prince is doing porta potty parties. That's a tongue twister. Come on. We got everything right here at home, which is why ever since these folks rediscovered the Americas, they wanted to come to our home and never leave. They came over desperate, decrepit pilgrims, friars, on their last leg. Colonies are failing. They're starving. And we gave them a helping hand. And look what we got in return. Mm-mm-mm. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to wrap up this broadcast in a little bit. I've been live streaming for what, 6 hours straight now? Yeah, about 6 hours straight. 4 hours on YouTube, 4 hours on TikTok, 3 or so hours on YouTube. Is Tyrone still backstage? I was going to bring up Tyrone, have him close out the show with me, but Tyrone is MIA. I guess we'll just go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. As always, stay diligent. Don't fall for the hype. You may have forgotten, but I'm here to remind you. You remember that day when you were young and you came home from school and you told your uncle, you told your auntie, you told your grandma, you told your grandfather that, oh, today I learned we come from Africa. And you remember what they told you? And what tribe they said you came from? And that ancestor of yours that they said was indigenous to this land? Remember it. It's time to remember. Because the proof is in the pudding. The evidence is finally being revealed. And you know what? I ain't even going front. This was such a great live stream. This was such a great live stream. We had some really, really rich conversations. I always measure my success. My key performance indicator is not how many live viewers I have. It's not how many followers or subscribers I have. Not even how many consultations I get booked for. My key performance indicator is how many people I educated. How many people tonight watched my content and said, damn, I never knew that. Whoa, that makes me think of things differently. Damn, that makes sense. Oh, I'm connecting the dots. Damn. So you know what? What I'm going to do, just because I love y'all so much, I don't want to say goodbye yet. I'm going to play some tunes. I'm going to roll up. And while I play some tunes and roll up, please do me a favor. Let me get some fists or feathers in the chat if I taught you something new this evening. And if you want to go one step further, post in the chat what you learned tonight that was new that you did not know before. Let me know, guys. Give me some feedback. What was it that you didn't know of and now you know all about it? What was it? And you know what? I ain't even going front. I got so many screens. I mean, if y'all could see what I got going on in here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monitors, 2 of them unplugged. We so deep with the research. I got 600 documents behind me. The other day, I had to paint my walls in my office with whiteboard paint so that we can just use the walls as whiteboards because the information is so crazy. And you know what? The one thing that I have up on the newly painted whiteboard walls is a quote from a Black Indigenous chief, Osceola. You know what? I wonder if I can join. Even if I did that, only YouTube would see it. How do I get TikTok to see it? You know, I wonder if I can just like move my camera over a little bit. Hold on, guys, bear with me. I wonder if I can just angle my camera over to the side to where you guys could actually read this quote that I have painted on my wall up here. Hold on. Let me see. The camera go back further. Oh, it's trying. It's okay. There we go. I'm not sure if you guys can make that out. If you can make it out, it might be a little bit blurry. Hold on. I'm going to try to zoom in for you, too. I'm going to try to zoom in. Look at that. Right above my door. Right above my door. Hold on. Here we go. Right above the door. And you know what? Is this backwards for you guys, or is this readable? Let me get some fists or feathers in the chat. I need some feedback, y'all. Give me some fists or feathers in the chat if you can actually read what's painted on my wall right there. Can you actually read it? Let me know. Let me know. Can anybody actually make out the words? Or is it backwards? I don't know. Either way, I'm going to read it for you. Either way, I'll definitely read it aloud. But give me some feedback, y'all. Give me some feedback. Okay, someone says... no, some... Okay, so you know what? I think it's backwards. I think I got to mirror the image. Hold on just a second. I'm going to mirror my image. Oh, damn. There we go. Now, can you guys read it? Now, I think you might be able to read what is painted on the wall of my office above my door. This is how deep we are with the research. This is how deep I gotta have a visual reminder. I gotta have it in front of me always. Let me get some feedback now. Can you guys make out the words? I know it's a little dark. I know it's a little dark now. Fila says no. Well, shit, I was gonna read it aloud anyways. Let me go ahead and read it out loud. I'll put the flashlight on it too, just in case there are some folks who can make it out, okay? This is a quote from Chief Osceola. This is a quote from Chief Osceola. He says, and I quote, "Am I a Negro? Am I a slave? My skin is dark, but not black. I am all Indian, a Seminole." Come on, y'all. Let's talk about it. We know exactly who we are. We know exactly where we come from. They've been trying to reclassify us from day one. It's not working. It's not working. It never worked. It did for a little bit. They got us hoodwinked for a couple generations, but yeah, nah. Talk about chickens coming home to roost now, y'all. Talk about chickens coming home to roost. And you know what? I swear I lost my TikTok chat. I don't know where you guys went on TikTok. I know we're still live on TikTok, but as far as where my actual chat went, I don't know where you guys went. Damn. Okay. Now I can see the chat again. Now I can see the chat. So guys, again, without further ado, what I'd like to do is play a little tune. I'm gonna roll up. Let me know what you learned this evening that was new, that you were not privy to previously. And in general, you can put some fists or feathers in the chat if you learned something new. Okay, now I see the TikTok chat. Okay, so it was backwards. It was reversed, and then I fixed it. It was still a little hard to read, but at least I read it aloud for you guys there. Come on, let's talk about it. You know what? What do I feel like listening to as I roll up? What do I feel like listening to? Well, first, since we've got so many new viewers tuning in, for anybody out there that is not familiar with me or my content, my name is Mike. I'm a digital archivist, a genealogist, a historian, a card-carrying member of the Muskogee Creek Nation. I run the website nativeblackancestry.com, where I produce tons of content to educate Black Americans on their Aboriginal history. If anybody needs help with genealogy research, you can even book a consultation with me where I'll teach you the 3-step process me and my family use to trace our heritage and get tribal citizenship.
I'm so glad that, you know what I'm saying, I even, you know what I mean, experienced this. I'm glad I experienced you from, you know what I mean, enlighten me from the internet to, you know what I mean, online, getting one-on-one in depth, giving me a lot of information that I can take back to my people as well. And hopefully we could both get the everything meshing with everything with the lineage and everything with the genealogy. This is no scam. This is all real. This is a real homeboy that put it down. He mean what he say. He got receipts and he put it down. He stands on business. Straight up. One love.
So for anybody who is on the fence about having Mike help you or walk you through or educating you about genealogy and the genocide that has happened with the paper trail, I implore you to reach out, allow him to educate you and assist you in this process. I have learned so much in this consultation. I feel educated, empowered, and excited for learning about my history, and looking forward to the future. So if you're on the fence, please go ahead, hit up Mike. I promise you will not be disappointed.
don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British men. Quite frankly, you was kings, Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners. Raised up the children to worship their images. Set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them. And this shit get way deeper than your pigment.